watch the midday show for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun over there. And then Neil and I are back. All right, good show. We're back at 2 o'clock. So join us then. It's 11 right now. It's Adara. It's Joe. It's Sharif. It's the midday. Bye, Fabian.
What's up, Fabian?
Ciao for now.
Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif, and we're laughing up a storm. We're having a good time already on the show. All right, let's get to everybody in the chat before we get to what's happening in these here markets. Black Hawk, shout out to Proper Paradox. Man, change it back, man. It's a proper dang paradox. Shout out to my man there. Shout out to Boosted Red Spot and MF Dangerous, Stuart D, we got After Sir, Juan Padilla, Lupremo, Mike P. D. Ryder, Disco 32 and 420 Bud Monsters. Shout out to Hangry Wife from Mr. Leahy, Bob the Frickin' Builder, and we got Ahmed, we got Rob Weather's Channel. Did you work at the Weather Channel, Rob? I need to know. Get at me, my man. We got Yo Adrian. We got, who else, man? Common Sense and Jacques, KC, 526, KC. Bob, the Builder again, Jay Haas, ATX. We got Gamble, Ethos, and Fluffy Hippo. Shout out to Breathe Breathe Tidal Wave. Okay. We got Yannick. We got Buffalo Soldier. We got Why Not, Hammer Candle Wicks. Nakul 92, Ed Miller, VW, Levi Corbett. We got Yanks. We got Grandpa Trades. That's what I want to see, man. My mold man won't even open the computer over there. Shout out, no, that's not true. Shout out to Ronaldo, Josh Shaw, one more. Rivian Millionaire, the OG in the chat. Good morning to everybody. I hope y'all had a fantastic long weekend, safe as always, and had a great time with fam. Welcome back, Joey. Good to see you.
Yeah. Great being here once again. I hope everyone enjoyed their long weekend. It was a nice rest and relaxation is the term I was looking for. But yeah, don't even pull up my screen just yet, guys, because I had to restart my computer literally a minute before. So I'm just pulling some things up. And yeah, when the market was selling off this morning, I'm, okay, this is a little fishy. And then you get this nice rip higher, and then you come back in a little bit. So that's what we got going on. As soon as I get my stuff up here, I'm going to be able to display you what we have been trading on the day. But I need everything to cooperate, that is for sure. So I'll let you take it over for another
Absolutely, and I'm going to shout out Theory of Stars, free mustache rides for everyone. Shout out.
Oh.
Dropping $2 in the super chat. Thank you very much, Theory of the Stars.
It's crazy.
It's funny. Yeah. All right, guys, here's what I'm doing. Neil already kind of foreshadowed this. He prefaced this, whatever word you want to use. It's HW frickin' H. 250%. We've already executed on it through the break of the 248, 275-ish previous area of resistance. That takes us to this top wick over here. But we've been using that said previous area of resistance as, you probably guessed it, current area of support. No wicks closing below this 470 spot, despite the fact that it did wick into 452. So we're looking here for 475-ish area as an area of support and a break through the current area high, which is around 5.25. Technically, it is 528 HOD, but we're going to look to that $0.25 level as the real area of resistance. Let's bring in the trusty side chart to show you what we're looking at. Top left of your screen is said HWH, the best looking name in small cap gapper world, in my humble submission currently. And here we go into the high teens. We could be low 20s. 528 is the high. Let's look over here. It's showing 20s here. Joseph Wilson, 22s. Oh, 23s. Here we go. We could be taking out the area high. There's a monster seller at the... He got decimated. Sorry, bro. We tried to tell you. 525 got decimated. It's 540 high now, 539. Technically HOD. Be on the lookout here for HWH. It's given the goods if you like those small cap style stocks, which I do. Wow, but there's more, Joey. There's more. Let's show them. MLYS. This one's coming into the 10 EMA, a bit more expensive of a name, so be careful with this one. Oh, Ram decided to show up to work. That's nice. Triple U, not quadruple U, triple U. 82%. She's giving me the look. Yeah. Joseph was the one pointing it out. I just said it in passing. Ram, we love you. All right. So Triple U is doing its thing. 25 at around $6 over here. A 710 high. Neil mentioned this one already. SOGP. Get it, Randy. Randy is destroying everything back there. SOGP, this one was running all sorts last week. Assassino, I know you remember this one because this one was up 300% in one day, and it's got another 67% to its name today. And trust me, bro, it's well off the highs. 2309 HOD, trying to get back above 20. So this one's in play. Nuke as well. NUKK up 25 and change. Alas, this one is losing the volume weighted average price a little bit lower than the $0.50 and looking like it might want to lose 6 if you are okay with trading these ones below VWAP as a long, which I am not. I would be looking at 550 to 530 for that, breakout area from the pre-market high. That should be an interesting area of support. I'm talking about 550 to 530 on NUKK. I won't be taking that because I don't trade these ones as a long below VWAP. LAWR bull flagging to no end over here. You get that big move up 930, but it was trading all sorts from basically 7:30 onwards in the morning. It is below VWAP. In fact, VWAP here on LAWR looks more like a line of best fit than an area of support or resistance, so I would base almost none of my entries off VWAP here on LAWR. Mankind, MNKD, this one was above the volume weighted average price when we started. It's got a gnarly looking double top into 6 2/3. I'll get that one from you in a second, Katina Man, but it's losing VWAP here at $6 quite quickly. And then last but freaking not least, DUO, not Duolingo, otherwise we'd be shorting this one to no end. 21 1/3, looking to take out 3. Katina Man, what's going on over there, brother? Tesla is absolutely dropping, and Katina Man's printing up a storm on his short on Tesla, so we're going to shut him out and hope he prints more. Joey, those are the ones I'm looking at right now. What's your focus, brother?
Finally. All right, guys. We got everything rocking and rolling here this morning. What were we trading? More or less scout mode. By the way, I also just took the first loss of the day on Ethereum, piece of garbage. Decided that it didn't want to hold trend and continue its trajectory to the downside. So IBIT, we grabbed the tops. Why was I short this name? Extremely strong out of the gate there, and then sure enough we have these indecisions at the highs, and then sure enough then we just take a little short off there, and then we get this move, bounces off of 63 multiple times, and then that's when we get out. So that worked out for us relatively well. So green on the day, but we did just take a small loss on ETHJ. So there it is, IBIT getting that move, and then also Ethereum, NVDL, we took a small scalp on this one. It's unfortunate that I didn't hold it long enough, but it is what it is, and we just accept our wins for what they are. So bang, there it goes, boom, boom. We take a pop there, a nice 60 cents there, 60, 70 cents on NVDL. And then let's pull up ETHJ. Again, we'll go 1 for 2 on this. Nice little scalp up here. And then we look for the volume weighted average price to hold. And then as soon as it cracks 32.80, we got out of that trade. So see you later there. And then we want to break it down to the 1 minute for any forms of indecision and volume spikes. Now, why isn't this trade working as well as the IBIT and the NVDL trades? Well, because the volume wasn't supporting the bounces. So as you can see, we have those indecision prints at specific levels, but the volume isn't there. And now I want us to take a look at what we had on NVDA. And this is why I decided to go long just out of the gate. Beautiful five-minute hammer candle, and then sure enough, you have to take that trade regardless of it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes after the open. There it is, bang. So a nice move off of that, and then we get a nice little move up into the 170s via NVDL. But yeah, getting a nice little bounce here in the market, considering I like what Sean was saying, that we get that pullback, but we don't necessarily break through the lows. So I agree with him there. A nice trend line. You can see that higher low being formed. So if we can hold up through that specific level, I think we're going to be sitting okay there, Sharif. So we'll be patient. We're going to wait for indecision prints at the lows. ETHJ isn't necessarily doing what I want, so it's more or less consolidative, and the volume not supporting it. So if we get something to step in and we can look at a signature that says, hey, this tells me to go long, then that's what we're going to decide to do. But right now, we're 3 for 4 on trades, and we're not going to complain whatsoever. So we want to put on a little bit more size, starting things cool as we rock and roll into the start of this week, my guys.
Sounds good, my man. All right, we're long HWH again, taking some scalps scalps into the high 30s, low 40s, trying to build this position. Don't want to get too aggressive here at the highs. So we've got now 15s on. I'll defend this into about the 75 penny area at 4s, because that's where the 10 EMA on the 5 is. So let's see if we can kind of work our way up over here. We've got 23s on now. Let's set up some at 33s. We're getting a seller here at 23s, sort of a bizarre area to get the selling, especially since we just posted there. Always so unusual when it does that. So I'll set up some more dip trades into this one, but it is putting in a bit of a topping tail candle of concern over here. So let's go ahead and set up at 75s, and that will be my bigger position at 475. So we're going to wait at 77s, looking to front run that area for a dip trade on HWH. Again, well ahead of the 10 EMA, and I perceive that 10-10 candle on the 5-minute to have kind of rejected off 67s-ish in and around there. So let's see what we get with HWH at this area. I'm also keeping an eye on SOGP. SOGP is rocketing back to the high side right now on the NQ. It's 2309 high, and it's breaking through 22 right now. So the closing print prior to that had actually been below 22. So despite the fact that the level on the day is 2309, I think 22 is the real resistance level, given where this candle actually ended up opening at. It never closed there. Remember on the red candles, that is where you close, the top part. So let's see what SOGP does. It's already dropping $1. So breach 22 momentarily, dropped below 21. In some fact, it's in the 20 mid-80s now. So you're going to have to be really careful here with SOGP. It's super expensive and it's moving crazy. Great. Very volatile. Be on the lookout for this one. It's very good, has a lot of potential parabolic upside, but it gives back very quick, very fast. So you got to be on the lookout for that. So I'm going to be really focusing right now on HWH as we built our position into that $5 area around there. Let's set up some beak wetters possibly to the high side. Let's see where, though, the sellers are at. The sellers seem to be in control after we printed that 557 high. Now we've got 13s on, we're showing 12s. All right, can we get back a little bit higher? There we go. Moving nicely back into that high teens, low 20s area. Let's see if we can get some continuity back to the high side. And there we go, popping back into 18s. We'll wet the beak there as well. We've got a nice position on here showing 09s. Let's wet the beak again into the mid-teens, but down it goes again into 5. So we're going to have to pack our patience here, getting some nice profit takers into the mid-teens, but by no means out of the danger area, sort of, Joey, because we're still in and around that 5. You never really know what's going to happen. What are you looking at, man?
Juan, I can see that you're short Bitcoin. I think it's pretty strong here today. As you can see, the market did pull back in through the volume-weighted average price, and we're holding a base relatively well. You can see the buying pressure step in on the 5-minute candles. So there's a base that I was referring to earlier, right at 63, and then now you don't even establish a new low off of this previous high right here. So for me personally, I think that we're pretty strong here in Bitcoin, and I'm not going to say the same thing for Ethereum, considering it is following the overall market and is south of the volume-weighted average price. So just keep that in mind. I'm seeing BTC holding 111, no short on BTC, says Rusty Dutch. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. One, obviously, you know what you're doing. So, I mean, you got from 50, so you're right at the high. Risk profile really defined. So you only have to risk a couple pennies or so. You got 50s, I'm giving it to 60, so 10 cents of risk. I think it's worth it just to put on the trade. Hopefully you did take some off at 63.06 once it failed to establish that new low of the day, and there you go, bang. You're starting to see a little pop here in the crypto space, which is something positive. And then we got our guy Gorev as well starting to climb on Robinhood. He's like, Joe, double bottom. Nice grab off of that one there, my friend. Almost to the penny. We'll use the bodies on this one, not necessarily the wicks. So again, once not able to establish a new low, and then you post a nice little bounce right there. So just keep an eye on this. If price starts to kind of compress, you want to look at it as, okay, yeah, we're starting to establish lower highs, but then we're also getting those higher lows, right? So then you you get that wedge type price action, and then look for volume to step in, and then obviously follow the direction in which the volume steps. So yeah, that's what you got going going on. I mean, at one, you could be right. Like, the volume isn't crazy or anything along those lines, but if it starts to accelerate and pick up, and then you're really pushing towards that high of the day, I would lock in some profits and then maybe get out, reestablish the thesis, and then who knows, you could probably get a better price at that point. So that's kind of the game plan there. I was going to take another stab on Ethereum, but considering it's the weaker of the cryptos, I don't love it. But ooh, a big time pop right there. So volume's starting to pick up in this name, Sharif. And if we go on the 1 minute time frame, so we're going to really start to zoom in. But when we crack this trend, I would look for this to break, and that's going to put us north of VWAP there. But you have this hammer candle. For me, it's just the volume profile isn't adding up. You're getting the bounce, but what I'm seeing from a volume standpoint isn't saying, hey, Joe, take the long.
Hey, Joe, take the long.
Hey, Joe.
No, don't do it, Joey. All right, just packing my patience here, man. Keeping my eye on the 5-second chart on HWH, trying to spot areas of local resistance and support. We're in a bit of a consolidative mood right now on HWH. It's having a lot of trouble breaking through the high teens. I'm talking about 17s, 16s. That's what I'm looking at on the 5-second chart above. Let's bring it down and show everybody it's just a regular chart, guys, just with a lot of information. So what I'm trying to keep an eye on, are we putting in higher lows? Are we getting a flat top? And it just absolutely skyrocketed, bro. It took out 90% of my orders. Now we're 30% in the money, 30 pennies in the money on this $5 name. Put these resting orders, guys. I sound like a broken record, but I say it for a reason. Here it was me doing some TA, and I'm sure you guys are doing the same thing as well. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose to the upside, but it spent like no time there. So if you weren't resting with some orders there, if you didn't have super quick hotkeys and reacted to it in the moment, you didn't get printed, right? And that would be the frustrating part. So I've seen that story before. So we're taking out some orders right now. We're still below that 540 area that we spiked up to. Let's see if we can get back above there. We've got $5 on at the moment, and we still got shares on. So I'm just going to wet the beak over here super quick to de-risk, and we'll have many more. Here we go. So now we're waiting a little above 40 Joey options. We're waiting in front of 48s, showing 38s now. Can we get 40s? We're not getting 40s quite yet. There's a seller here of note at 39, and we keep rejecting 49s. There's 40, but we sell again into that 41 spike, so right back into the lower 30s. Now, keep your eye out on the higher low. If we lose 517, that is a lower low, and I'm going to probably flatten out. Okay, I'm trying to look at the 5-second chart over here to spot the areas of support and resistance. So that's what I'm looking at right now, guys. I'm not doing anything else other than trading this one on the 5 and executing, of course, as you see here on the 5-minute, charting on the 5-second, executing on the 5-minute. Kind of a little bit of a specialty there. Let's keep an eye out on this one again as we work our way back into the mid-30s. We had some selling here in the low 40s. We spent almost no time in that low 40 area, so I'll be looking for another price spike there. But SOGP is working its way back up again, Assassino. Look how good this one looks, but it's having a lot of trouble, as I mentioned, staying and holding above 22. So be on the lookout for that, right? That $22 area has been tough to stay above. It is a 23.09 high, Joey options. So I'll be looking out for that as well. And then MLYS, guys, MLYS curling back into 30. That could be an interesting one as well. Joey options. Boom! Into HWH in the high. We're still above that. We're still below that $0.50 though.
Good luck. Adara, you ready for this? A whole lot of red in the sector performance. There you go. You like that one. All right. So, guys, the top performing sector today is the consumer staples, and we're negative on it. So, yeah, it is a whole lot of red. Then we got the utility sitting in second place, down 1/4, and then healthcare down 1/3%. Now, the bottom three, we have real estate down 1 1/4, the industrials down 1 1/4, and then the tech sector almost down 2%, guys.
Say it ain't so, Joey.
Say it ain't so. Do you know who sings that song? No. I don't either, but I like the melody of it.
Ask your friend Copilot.
I will. We'll see what Copilot's up to. I'm sure Adara might know maybe too, but I think that's more of a punk rock. But anyways, guys, as for the best major... Pardon?
Weezer?
I think so, yeah.
The chat.
Yeah,
I just cheated.
Yeah,
Chat was
yeah.
all over that.
Okay, so yeah, guys, as for the week, the IWM is the only positive major average here, up about 0.4. The Dow is down 1/10, and then we have the SPY down 0.8, and then we have the Qs down 1 1/3. That's on the week. That is last week's performance. So off to a great start here this week as well, too. So, I mean, obviously being slightly sarcastic on that, but guys, be patient. We know that August is usually slightly bearish. People start taking profits. Same thing with September. But come October, we might get another nice little bounce, friend.
Who do you think you
No.
are?
It's pretty. It's so pretty.
Oh my goodness. Yes, Joseph. There, that's the Dollar Club right there, baby. There it is on a $5 name. HW freaking H. Into 6, guys. This one is on a rampage. It's 307%, looking to take out more now. It is a 609 high. Let's be on the lookout for this one. It's got all the goods, but let's not forget about SOGP, because I keep looking over there and it looks like it's accumulating for an explosive $22 take. But it is currently still the HWH show as this one works its way into $6. So we've been in this multiple times. I'm happy with how we executed here. We can always do a little bit better. And I got to tell you, I should have been adding on those dips. That's my mistake. I'll look to improve into next time. But definitely happy with how what I've seen so far with HWH. Look at this, man. It's still accumulating for a breakout. This is a 609 high, but the way that the tape is trading right now, you can see the longs are in control. At least that's how I feel for now. Maybe I should make a bit more of an assessment of the $6 area. Oh my goodness, it's a 625 high. Here we go. Sorry, 627 high. I feel like I'm going to be correcting that multiple times as we get up. It's a 674 high, Joseph. This one is on a rampage, guys. It's 350% and still going. HW freaking H. Here we go, Joey. We're going to keep an eye out on this one. Tell them what you're looking at, baby.
Yeah, I'm all about, let's see if we can get a bounce here in Ethereum. I mean, you got to take those swings. If you don't, then you're not going to have a good time. So I'd rather be wrong on it than miss out on a potential trade. But enough is enough. Let's take a look at the options chain and see what we got cooking up here today. So at 180, we have this is NVDA, right? So we want to always keep an eye on the underlying. This is this week's expiration cycle. So at 180, we have 86,900 contracts. I mean, that's kind of relative where it was last week as well, too. So you're starting to see that rollover. Watch out for that call wall there. But then also a put wall at 160. I believe that's going to be max pain. 160 on NVDA, I don't think necessarily is going to be the case. Let's pull it up to see actually what we're trading at. Yeah, so by the end of the week, that would be absolutely hectic if we did trade all the way down there. So what delta is that? Okay, so that's a, no, okay, so that's a 13 delta. So nothing substantial. I think those will expire OTM, which is relatively good. Now let's take a look at the crypto space, because now that Ethereum and Bitcoin are obviously optionable, it's really important to note where we can spot some call walls, because there's going to be conviction between both of the underlying and then what we actually have going on in the options market. Smart people over there. So $34.5 and $35, $12,900 and $22,300. So you can see that congestion through those specific levels, but nothing at 33 that is substantial. So Ethereum does not want to participate in any form of a bounce today. And if Bitcoin wants to continue with selling, then I don't believe that this trade's going to work out relatively well. So I don't want to get too carried away in trying to force something that may not be there. And I think that's going to be the case here in Ethereum. Now, moving on to Bitcoin, 65 strike price, we have 10,800. That's nothing substantial. What was our high of the day? 63.50. What do we have at 63.50?
What do you got, Joey?
14,800. That is going to be the largest in this congestion zone. So a potential call wall there, but nothing substantial. I believe that if volume and the volatility steps into this market, you might get the ability to bounce. What is the delta on this? It is 0.44. So what is that telling us? For every $1 move on that specific contract right now, you're getting a $44 increase in your options contract. So not quite a one-to-one trade.
Joey, what is Bovin known for doing?
pointing out the bangers on the small caps, man.
And he's pointed out another one,
Oh,
Joseph.
my
NBY. Shout out to the OG Bovin in the chat, a.k.a. my other pair of eyes. There it goes, baby. NBY. Great call out, Bovin. I didn't have eyes on this one. And it's a trade de novo, meaning that it was really doing bupkis in the pre-market. Really didn't get the volume going there. The big volumes bars started showing up around 10:35. So it wasn't doing its best trade in the pre-market. It wasn't doing its best trade during power hour. Right after power hour is really when it started going, 10:35. So we'll keep it, no, well, not power hour, excuse me, the opening dry. I know power hour is later, my mistake. But yeah, 239, Bovin, it's still well above the 10 EMA, which goes all the way down to about 218. I'm going to be keeping an eye here on NBY, but I got to tell you, man, it's really hard to look away from HWH because there's another high a day.
Oh.
It's a 680 high a day now, Joseph Options, but it's having a lot of trouble. Again, not surprised by this because we know the $0.50 is an area of both support and resistance. The 50 penny area, a little above, a little bit below, as you can see right now on the level 2, breaching above that 650, all the way back down now into the low 30s, low mid 30s. So I've been watching this story manifest here for the last 4 or 5 minutes. That 6.5 is a pesky little area, right? And I'm not talking about pesky, that stock that we were trading the last couple of weeks. No, I'm talking about this one being a pesky little bugger because that 650 area is a tough area to clear. Alas, when you look at the the trend that is currently still intact on HWH, we still very much have higher lows on every successive candle. So I wouldn't be looking for the short all that quickly or yet at all. So that's what I'll keep my eye on, guys. I'm all done my HWH trade, but I'm very interested in this one to come back into possibly 5.5. First, obviously, I want to see what it does at 6, right? $6, that whole dollar area, resistance, psychological resistance that is. So if it gives up 6.5 and it keeps dripping down like it is right now, what's it do at 6? It doesn't hold up at 6. The 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart is at 550. So I want to see what that one does as well. So yeah, it looks like SOGP, SSENO is going to take its sweet time today. It's not exactly exploding to the high side. In fact, it's doing exactly what I said it was going to do, which is reject the $22 area. It's continuing to do that. Let's put NBY, though, on a trading screen and get a gander of what this bad boy has been up to on the level 2. Where the hell does this trade? It's on the MX. There we go. Show me. There we go. Show me the reason I'm being lonely. NBY, my boy. 230 right now, but it's got a topping tail into 240, kind of bull flagging a little bit. I want to see more here, Bovin. Where the hell is the volume on this thing, bro?
Where is he?
Like, this thing's dried up, Joseph Options. I mean, what do we got? 3.86 million, and we got all of it super quick.
Wow.
Look at that volume profile, though. That's no good.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know, and that's a nice move there as well, too, to the top side. Excuse me. So
yeah, of course.
So what I was looking at here, so max pain on the week in the Nasdaq here is going to be right around 580. You can see we have 16,000 contracts, and this is next week's expiration cycle. Yep. So is it? No, it's not. Sorry. So let's actually go out a little bit more here. And that is going to be the 12th. And then we want to look for, why does it do that? Okay, so there it is. So nothing substantial, but what I was noticing on this week's expiration cycle is that we're experiencing a lot more open interest on the put side. So what is that? Potential hedging being take place. Just look at the open interest here compared to what we're experiencing on the call side, all right? So just keep that in mind, just potential hedging, and you want to see a lot of this congestion start to clear up, and that can give you a signal, hey, the market is ready to start climbing again. So right now, we're not getting any of those signals. Can we be wrong? Absolutely. Hopefully we are, for the sake of the long-term accounts and even your swing accounts, but right now, bearish territory. No questioning that. All right, we're in Ethereum here. Let's try it. This is going to be our last attempt. I promise, because I don't want to force something that may not be working. But the volume really started to pick up here. So we get that pullback. Look at the volume on the pullback here, guys. Just falls off a complete cliff. So what essentially my thesis is excuse me, is I'm looking for the continuation in strength and then a potential break of this 32.95 level. Now, in order for that to happen, of course, we have to break through those previous resistance zones and most importantly, the volume weighted average price. And with the continuous bid stepping in, it's not too good of a look, a nice engulfing candle, but the volume just fell off an absolute cliff once again. So I'm curious to see what this is and why it necessarily hasn't been sustained. Now, if we break this 32.70 level, I'm out of this trade 100% because I would have given back a lot of today's gains. And we don't want to do that. But again, you have to take those shots. If you're looking to put on winning trades, you have to put up the risk as well, too. Neil said that if you're looking to scale, you got to be willing to take some more losses. And I was going over some of my swing stuff on the weekend, which I'm pretty happy about it. But again, it's time to start scaling. There's no questioning that, Sharif.
That's fantastic, Joey. I got to agree with you on that. I wanted to point out a couple of things. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're going to go to Adair for crypto in 1 second, but I got to point out one thing, Joey.
Yeah.
Sunday was the big game. Yeah. It was Arsenal versus Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I was just reminded by somebody in the chat, so I just wanted to get this out of the way. We lost 1-0.
Okay.
We lost 1-0 on their turf. We didn't play badly, but they had the X factor. Dominic Sloboslai, this guy dead ball from like 30, 40 yards out, top corner.
Oh, yeah?
Unsavable. Unsavable.
Nasty
yeah,
shot,
if we weren't getting dinged here by your friends over at Google there, I'd show it. But
we can't do that stuff.
711 high, 725 high. HWH is what we all thought it was. It's going, Joseph. It's 400%. Adair is going to give you the goods on crypto.
Come on.
Before we get to crypto, I want to mention a ticker that Sharif actually just mentioned here, PSKY, Paramount, Sky. Actually, on Watch, I'm seeing these headlines circulate over like the last 15 minutes. Not really much market moving here, but it is an interesting story. Apparently, Paramount is partnering with Activision, of course, now owned by Microsoft, to develop a live-action Call of Duty film. So PSKY potentially on Watch. Again, the stock did not really react to this news. Let's talk about these two for a second here. These are Donald Trump's eldest sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, and they have crypto-related catalysts, actually, two of them. So let's get into those. First, we actually have the launch of that World Liberty Financial Token. That came out yesterday, ticker WLFI. Apparently, they initially traded around above 30 cents, traded a little bit lower later in the day. As of around, it looks like 2:40 p.m. yesterday, according to CoinGecko, that WLFI was the 31st largest crypto token in circulation. So seems like a bit of a mixed launch there for the Trump brothers, but they have another crypto-related catalyst on Watch today, guys, believe it or not. We had an announcement here from Dunamu, which is in Korea, and it actually runs Korea's largest crypto exchange called UpBit. Apparently, Eric Trump is going to be speaking at the UpBit D conference on September 9th, but that is not the only Trump son-related crypto headline, because Donald Trump Jr. is going to be delivering a keynote address at the Korea Blockchain Week in 2025. So both of these sons are going to be in Korea this month with crypto-related catalysts, interesting stuff, and I guess that WLFI launch seems to have gone fairly well. Let's look here at Bitcoin, which spent this long weekend forming a pretty sturdy base. It looks like around that 107,000.3 level. Today pushing higher, but we are still technically making lower highs and lower lows on the daily chart after making that new all-time high just below 125,000 on August 14th. Let's take a look here at Ethereum, and then we'll take a look at Solana. Ethereum continuing to push a little bit lower from that recent all-time high, just below 5,000, but still holding pretty steady support above that 4,000 level. Let's take a look at SOL USD. Solana, though, actually continuing its uptrend. Solana and Bitcoin definitely a little bit stronger on the day compared to Ethereum and also compared to the market. Back to you. Make sure to like and subscribe as we send you back to the Bash.
You're pathetic. You're just pathetic.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You can't.
Pathetic.
You're pathetic.
Yeah, petty.
All right, guys.
Cash.
Joseph HWH, bro. Oh my goodness. It is a 744 high. Yeah, we were 400 not that long ago, like seconds ago, Joey. We're dropping back down into 7 right now. It's the HWH show, guys. Trade it carefully though, because you don't know when the bottom is going to drop off. You know, In the past, I would say it's getting extended away from the 10 exponential on the 5, and it's due for a retracement. But I've been shown that is not exactly an accurate, way to gauge overbought and oversold conditions on these small cap gappers, because they've been plenty extended away from the 10 EMA on the 5 and continue to go. HWH just but one example of that. So I'll continue to watch this one. I need it to set up a bit better, punching into the highs after I've traded already a little bit of a risky business over here. But I want to point out two different ones that somebody in the chat that I don't personally know for trading small cap gappers, but who's asking me about them. Oh. Shout out to ADL, Adam Deleuze, baby. Adam, you called two really good ones, so I got to give you credit on this one, Adam. And my response to you was probably less than flattering. LAWR. Adam was asking me about this. I'm like, look, this is bull flagging. It's very consolidative. I went through this right at the beginning, and there it goes. If you picked it up off that bottom, which it showed you its hand multiple times, I'm talking about 320, 315, you printed up a storm. I see you, Mr. Ducats, as well in the chat. There's that 389 breakout, and all of a sudden, LAWR knocking on that 100% area as it's up 99 and change, looking to take out 100%. Trust me, bro, if it breaks above 4, we're already getting that 101 print. So LAWR is breaking out. Full disclosure. MLYS as well, another one that Adam was asking me about. I like this one now, Adam, as it's kind of showing you that curl, that rounding effect. It didn't use the 10 EMA, all that strictly closed below it as well as printed below it multiple times. But you can see the higher low, higher high pattern on the candle and that bottoming rounding effect. It's still having trouble with 29 on a closing basis, but I suspect that is just moments before that ends. MLYS is up 86.5%. Oh. So many different names right now into the highs, Joey options, or near triple digit territory. What's happening over there? Why are you doing that?
Absolutely lit up here on Ethereum. Just an absolute. I got to get out of this. Yeah, so there goes about 90% of my profits of the day. So. Ethereum, why are you doing me so dirty? So what did I do? I obviously want to pull up, sorry to interrupt there, Sharif. Again, I just wanted to take a look at what we had going on from the daily, obviously monitoring it throughout the weekend. And I'm liking the buying pressure that you're seeing, right? So we push down and then it just gets bought back up. So it's not that I needed to. I would like for this to close a little bit higher or as another indecision print within this phase that we're experiencing so that we can take that additional leg higher. But again, we can't complain too much considering that we've been up 136% since June. Like, crazy. What in the days? That is such a massive move higher. So to experience a little 10% pullback is small potatoes. Right now, we're currently at the lows, 15%. So another 5, and then you're going to get into bear territory. And I'll have to think about closing my my position here. And we're in around 30. I think my average is around 3,500. So I'll just get completely out, especially if this snaps, and we'll lock this. We'll lock in those gains. And then if it comes back into this range, we'll just hop right back in. Because I believe throughout the year, this could be a potential climb higher up into 55, 6,000, maybe even possibly. Because my guy Tom Lee's bigging it up. He's saying 10,000 even by mid-26, which would be absolutely phenomenal. But I'm not going to hold on to this swing position that long, all right? So now for me, it's just what are we doing? We're continuously selling, bleed, and then wait for some indecision and some volume prints in order for us to start to participate. So there it is. We took 2 losses on ETHJ, 1 win on this one, so 1 for 3. That final one did take away the majority of my gains, so we're just barely holding on to green with it by a thread. But then also we're getting NVDA. This one worked out for us already throughout the intraday session, so volume starting to pick up. If we can get this to close as a complete hammer and the Qs to correlate with that, I think we're going to be sitting in a half decent position for a nice little bounce back into the volume weighted average price. Sharif.
Sounds good, Joey.
Thank you,
all right, here we go, guys. I'm looking at DUO now. And full disclosure, I was looking at punching in at 91s. I hesitated. I canceled my order, and now it's going away from me. That's on me. And here we go. It's going to take out $3, it looks like, right? Nice hold there, off 280. I tried to get high 80s, low 90s. It didn't let me in, and I didn't feel like chasing it because we were really close to 3. So my bias always is I want to see what happens at that psychological area of support and or resistance. I'm talking about the whole dollar area, your 2s, your 3s, 4s, etc. Sorry, my chair is malfunctioning lately. It keeps dropping.
Oh, is
Maybe
it
I'm
doing
gaining
it again?
weight, Joseph Options. Who knows?
It's muscle mass.
No, I'm not gaining any weight. I'm not.
I don't know. I'm not even going to tell you what I ate. I wouldn't even tell you what I ate over the weekend.
Did you make a trip to to the exhibition?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Okay, so you don't have any fried food?
No.
Oily food?
But I had a boatload of candy.
A boatload of candy?
Yeah.
Say it ain't so,
Yeah.
bro. Fats over sugars, baby.
Yeah. And
Fats over sugars.
Brother, the sugar is the worst thing, man.
Bad joke.
It's bad. It's
That's
really
okay.
bad.
What you have? Tell me.
I can't. Okay, I'll disclose half of what I had.
Half?
So Selena brought back these English candies that were phenomenal.
Already the problem right there, eh?
those
You're
were
blaming
good.
her already right
so
there.
Those were
First
good. Those
word
were
out of your mouth was Selena Fry.
Yeah. So, but
Hear
the
that,
thing
Neil?
is though, when
trying to
you
blame
bring
his girlfriend.
something, that's the thing. Like you know not to bring it into the household because I'll eat it. I can't help myself.
Yeah, same
Hey,
with
right?
me.
So,
I don't blame you
I
with
don't
that.
buy that stuff. She'll bring it in and then I consume it. But anyways, I had that bag of candy and I had 3 bags of the Welch's fruit snacks from Dollarama. And a score bar.
And,
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I woke up.
Tastes fantastic.
Yeah, but I had to. You don't even
Did
understand.
you hear
It was
all
like
that he had
every
there,
morning.
Rim? What?
Yeah. All right. Anyways, guys, what was I about to touch on here? Okay, so we're not getting that print on NVDA or on the Qs, so that's why I got this up looking for that indecision, but we're not getting it just yet. Market still wants to sell off a little bit, so we're gonna keep that in mind. Let's zoom out to the daily and see. Sharif, this does not look good whatsoever. Break through some of these key necklines. That 167, but again, guys, like this is.
You picking it up at 160 then, Joey?
Maybe, possibly. Yeah, I have to really think about what I'm going to do with my Ethereum swing trade here to see if I'm going to hold on or maybe sell some a little. I am still. Oh yeah, that's right.
What happened?
I'm still holding some shares of NVDA from the earnings report. Doorknob. Anyways, so 112%, starting to pull back a little bit from that 184 high. We're now down 16%. So are we going to head back into that 20% territory? I think so. Just considering the trajectory that we're on and some of these other mega cap names. That is SFT. What are you guys laughing at over there?
Ram's trying to find out from the chat what we said.
Yeah. No. Ram could probably get behind a good score bar or something like that.
Bro, have you seen the fridge? The little
There's Coca-Cola's in that. Get that out of here.
The Reese's Pieces and the Saudi bars with the Arabic writing on them.
Yeah. I have my little chocolate stash. I'm not going to tell anybody where it is, but it is in the vicinity. I can't.
It's in the freezer.
That's where I like to keep all my chocolate. I like it nice.
That wasn't that hard, Neil.
That was not hard whatsoever. But back onto Microsoft.
Yes,
so guys, this is the big massive fail, Joe. I know it. That was easy. I'm an easy giveaway there. So back to Microsoft. So we talked about this trend being snapped. A lot of us in the chat were like, yeah, this isn't sustainable. And sure enough, after the earnings report, you're now down about 15% or so. Right? 10% to be exact. And then also with the likes of Google, some of these big names, guess what? We need them to participate in order for the market to continue its ascent. So 52% off of those lows, lagging, but it did establish a new all-time high over the past couple of sessions. Very, very positive. I was talking about this catch-up trade for some time.
Absolutely, Joey. Well said, my man. All right, Adam, we're in LAWR, my man. Come what may. Look, we're small position. We're gonna look to DCA into 375 to 380. So the first initial entry at 4. I want to see what it does with the whole dollar level. We're in a small position, so I can allow this to go against me, a skosh. But I will be looking to add into the low 80s, high 70s. Let's go ahead and wait right there, right now for that add. I'm going to wait at 88s for my first area add. And then we're going to look to add again into 75 because that's where I perceive the breakout level to be. So I want to see if it does end up holding that area. So let's go and post those there and come what may. So LAWR, but I also want to bring your attention to HWH again, because current bar, the current 5-minute candle has a higher low than the prior 5-minute candle. So the prior 5-minute candle, I'm talking about the 1135 one, that has a low. Come on, bro, stop embarrassing me, man. 617, 618, I can't exactly see because the mouse over is not working. This current one also can't see because the mouse over is not working, but it's higher, looks like 6 1/4, okay? So this current 5-minute candle, a higher low than the prior 5-minute candle. So if you were to get in here, I would be basing my out on prior bar low. Not exactly $6. That's one side of the equation. The other side is the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 on HWH is right at $6. So, you know, this could be an interesting dip trade if you don't really want to base your entry randomly and then put your stop at prior bar low. You could wait for 6. Obviously, that risks you not getting in at all. So that's what I'm looking at right now. LAWR, I'm looking for prior area of resistance to hold as support. I'm talking about between $4 to $3.75. If that doesn't hold, we're out, and that would be my first L of the day. If it holds, fantastic. It looks like I'm getting a beak wetter here, as I just saw this thing flash to my side. So let's flip back over here. And we got a couple of outs there, Joseph options. All right, so we're doing it freaking live, Adam, man. What is this call out over here, this sorcery that you're sending my way? The guy never trades small cap gappers. The first time he trades them, he's calling them real well. So shout out to my man Adam. I'm gonna wait at the $1/4 here, Mr. Duluth. See what this one has to offer. Showing me 19s. I'm waiting at the $1/4, Joey.
Nice, good look there. Yeah, Gorev. So essentially, I'm long off of this 1-minute print here. So you can see that this volume candle is the largest 1-minute candle aside from what we experienced right out of the open. So let's see if it can hold. I want to give it a little bit more room. So there it is. We're going to give it to 167.69. That's going to be NVDL.
Oh, wait, you got one?
Yeah, 69. You like the 69er. So that's going to put us right around 76.88. So I do have to give this one 50 cents. And I just decided to go full size because of the correlation between the volume and the price. So it's only a matter of if it's going to work or it's not, right? Either way is fine. So yeah, patience is going to be packed on this one because I believe that the market can get a bounce. Even though it does look continuously bearish, there's no specific bounce signals on the Nasdaq just yet, but anything can change on the flick of a switch. So everybody's like, oh, okay, that's enough selling for today. Boom. Yeah, look at the flick. Oh, you remember that? Look at the flick of the wrist. Man, that's crazy. That would bring back some good times. Yeah, great times. So there we go. We're starting to get a little bit of a pop there. We'll take the 20 cents. Not going to lock anything in just yet. We want to aim for 77.60s, right? That's going to be that next support or that next resistance zone. So hopefully we can punch through that, and then we're going to take the majority of it off. Scalp mode is the narrative for today. You can see we had this long, again, this pullback just got me right out. As you can see, I got stopped out of the break even, and then now we're starting to climb. So there it is, 77.68. This guy's doing the, what is that move
I don't even
called?
know what I'm doing.
What is that move called, though?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
I don't know what this one's called.
What is this one called? I don't know, man.
Can you do the worm?
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I think it's one of the easier breakdancing moves.
It's okay. Yeah. It's like if you do it the wrong way,
then
it
causes severe pain.
Yeah.
So you can't do it for too long. You can't do. Oh, did you ever see that one UFC fighter? What a clown! This guy wins his fight.
Oh,
Johnny Walker. He's a Brazilian guy.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah, that's his name. He wins his fight and then decides to do the worm as a celebration, and then dislocates his shoulder right after.
No, I did not see that.
Yeah.
The poor
he was
soul.
out, and he was out for a while. Guy's a clown, anyways. Sorry, continue there.
No, it's all good, Joseph.
Yeah.
All right, we're doing it live. We got 82s on over here. So scalped up into 4. We got some into 415. It dips back into 80. So we did take the fill at 80 as advertised. Scalped up again into 4. Now I'm just going to hold a piece for the dream. 375 or the loss, of 375 on LAWR gets me out of the trade. That's where the 10 EMA is. On the 5, that's where I perceive the right area of support to be, the previous area of resistance. So we're in the money on the second trade as well. I'm going to leave a piece for the dream because it's a smaller position. And if it breaks through 75, that's over. Let's go ahead and throw that there right now so that we don't have to monitor said position on LAWR. Just making sure that's accurate. There we go. And we'll throw up one more beak wetter in and around that 405 area. See what we get into that area. So that's the trade right now on LAWR. Uh-oh. You know who's reporting? Who? AEO.
Yeah. Oh,
no.
Bell, right?
It's after the bell today?
Yeah. It's sometime this week, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because you know how your things. What's that, Adara?
They are tomorrow after the bell. It will likely.
Thank
Okay.
you. So you know how your platform sends you notifications about upcoming earnings?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just got that right now.
Oh, you got that one there?
Yeah,
Nice. Also, I think
so Adara was muted, so she said that they're reporting tomorrow after the bell, and there is an upcoming infographic on canceled? Sorry?
Potentially.
Potentially. Okay,
Very
so
likely.
there's a potential infographic that may be coming, so stay tuned for that. You should be following Trader TV research.
You should be.
I mean, I don't know what's going on.
If you're not following that, then I don't know what you're really doing.
I don't even know what's happening
on X. What a piece of garbage NVDA is,
Joey?
man, because it's not bouncing. So yeah, again, we'll hold on to this because I think at some point we will get a little bit of a curl around. But if it wants to be a free fall Tuesday, then we don't want to be trying to catch a falling knife. The prints were there, the volume was there, so now we just need all the work is out of my hands essentially, and into those behind these numbers. And I would love to have a conversation with them, Sharif, sometime.
Talk to Jensen.
Yeah, I would not. It's not even Jensen. It's the market makers. These guys. I would love to just have a nice little meeting, a cool cup of coffee, calm and cool. You know what I mean, my friend?
Bring anything to that meeting? Any weapons?
No weapons.
Oh, okay.
No weapons. No weapons allowed. But no, I'm obviously being sarcastic.
Get it, Joey.
Holding up that level pretty good. The indecision prints are there. I mentioned that the volume's there. Now we just need that bounce into this prior resistance zone, and then that's when we're going to take the majority of this off. Now, considering that I've been holding on to it, I'm only looking at a 1-to-1 risk to reward. But if it wants to take another leg lower, then I'm not going to be mad or anything. But I'll be just like, Epa, come on, what happened here? We did all our due diligence, and then now it's starting to climb. So continue on what it is up to. So, and then it gives it all back. So that, just like that, sometimes you have some of those good days. And if I take this loss, I will go from green to red, which kind of sucks. But what doesn't suck is some of the top volume names on the session. As we start to retrieve this data, at the top of the list is the name that I am currently sitting in with 116 million shares. So the volume's there. And when I was looking this morning, Rigetti had 15 million shares traded at like 8 o'clock. So I'm like, oh, okay, what the hell? Yeah. But then sure enough, it hasn't really done too much. It's just still selling like a lot of these major tech names. So I think it might be hop out of NVDA here momentarily, and then maybe look for a continuation in the strength in Bitcoin. I don't know. Time will tell though. Where is it? What is I'm looking for here? There it is. So yeah, not looking too good here on NVDA.
Ozan, well, this is a different Ozan though, not the original Ozan. The new Ozan, Ozan Khan, Wallah, means I swear to God in there. I'm buying a Lotus Emira V6 6-speed soon. That's what I'm talking about, my man. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
Like
I like
Lotus
those cars
Alice?
too.
A Lotus Alice?
No, the Emira. Have you seen this? It's like it looks like a Ferrari a little bit, but it's obviously not Ferrari pricing. Yeah, we'll pull it up when things slow down, Joseph. Options
cool.
But yeah, I do happen to like that car. Shout out to my man, Ozan. All right, guys, we're doing it freaking live, and the only reason we're doing it live is because your boy ADL in the chat pointed this one out to me, and LAWR is taking off. We got 82s. It's about to break through 15s. It still has a lower high in the current 5-minute candle, but that could end soon if we can break above that $0.25. The previous candle, the previous 5-minute candle did reject off that $0.25. Here's 20s right now. There's a seller at 20s that we can't shake, so we're not able to shake them right now. LAWR is up a very, very respectable 111% and looking to go more. But you know what else is respectable? A 378 or 380% move on HWH, because I'm keeping an eye on that as well on the side chart. So there's all sorts of small cap gappers today going, baby. It probably behooves you to maybe take a look or two on these bad boys. Perhaps maybe you got a bug that allow you to make some extra money trading some different stocks over here. I'm referring to these small cap gappers. They get a bad rep, but hey, that's all good. So we'll keep tabs on this one. LAWR 438 high, but having trouble taking out 20s on the current 5-minute candle. I'm just packing my patience here. I'm looking for more. I'm looking for a high day break. So I'll do my best not to take it out before 438. My objective here is to look for a $0.5 break and take. I'm talking about that 4.5. If it's a 438 high currently, and I perceive us to be bull flagging, second bull flag right now on LAWR, then maybe we'll take out that high of the day. But I got to bring your attention one thing. LAWR, even though it's up 110%, look how long this bull flag, this initial bull flag took to break out from. So there's the breakout right at 9:30. We consolidated from 9:35 to 11:30. So essentially an hour and a half of consolidation for the first bull flag. So don't expect, that 438 to get taken out real soon. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But if history's any guide, we're going to have to wait a little bit. I also want to bring your attention to SOGP. Show yourself, SOGP. And here it is again, off 19. 19 has been an area of prior support. Take a gander at what it did over here from basically 1040 all the way till 11. So 20 minutes worth of defending that $19 area. In addition to that, the $19 area is a little bit higher than the volume weighted average price, which currently as Asino is about 1875, 1880, give or take. So SOGP up 60 some odd %, also at an important technical area. And that's HWH, that's what I was talking about right now. It's got multiple bottoming tails all off that 6 1/4, 6 1/3, and looking to go higher. And here we go, here's 7. Don't forget, 744 HOD. It just breached 7 momentarily, but it's having trouble holding 7, and back into the mid-80s we go. So you're going to have to trade this carefully. Wow, Joseph, 715, 720.
Oh, no.
Wowzers, dude. Okay. We got movement today. We got movement.
All right.
HWH. This one's definitely not giving up the ghost. We're not involved within it right now, but we're definitely keeping an eye on it because this one could be potential money. Yeah, so that's what I'm keeping an eye on. Joey, I just saw that LAWR drop back into 4. I'm fine with that. I'm going to keep my eye on HWH here.
Let's go. All right, guys. So, yeah, I'm back into, so I got stopped out. I'm back in it again, and I'm actually double this size. So I can't give it too much risk. Yeah, and we're just getting absolutely lit up on the longs here. We need the Nasdaq to bounce. Otherwise, this is going to be a bad time. Told you guys already I was green on the day. This put me officially to the red side. So we're going green to red on this one. But let's see if we can get a bounce considering I have now doubled the size up on this one. So that's working pretty good. Bang! All right. We'll take this starting to slowly cook. If the Nasdaq could any form of bounce back to VWAP, I think would be a little bit of a stretch. But we will take anything. Oh, yes. Let's go one.
Get
yes.
It,
oh, yes. Yes. This is exactly what we want to see. Hopefully this can be sustained. 2x leverage. What do I got to see? This is going to be a key level, 77.18s. So maybe we can aim for that. But again, I want to hold this considering I just gave a lot back here. I want to hold it for as long as I possibly can. So Diamond Hand, Deontay Wilder, get right back in. You get dropped, you get back up, and then sure enough, we get this move here. And Sharif, I was, yes, let's go.
Nice,
it's working for us nicely. So we're going to just steady let this cook. So there's this big debate going on. I believe it was on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Hear it, baby.
So MMA is not as dangerous as boxing, and I agree with this. We had this conversation before because in MMA, if you get put on the ground, the chances are the guy's going to be able to finish you. But in boxing, you have 10 seconds to get up, and that's just going to cause some more.
Get more whooping.
Yeah, and get more.
And how many times, Joseph, have we been yelling at the television? Stop the damn fight. Right?
That's the thing with boxing. It's either it's too early or it's just a horrible stop. And I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, we got the Canelo fight coming up in 2 weeks.
September 13th, bro. My mom's birthday, man.
Oh, yeah.
Pumped for that.
Oh, really?
Pumped for that. Then I'm going to the Jays game the next day. I bought Neil's tickets, his seasons. Into that game, going with my cousins. So it's going to be a nice weekend.
Yeah, that's a solid weekend. Yeah, that's a good sporting event weekend. All right, guys, it started to pull back here a little bit. bit. We were nicely in the money, ran right into this resistance zone and starting to come back in. We're going to hold on to it because I think we can get somewhat more of a sustained bounce. If it cracks the lows, then we take the loss.
Joseph, I want to bring another one that Bovin brought to my attention. It's up a little, about 50%, a little bit shy, 48 1/3. Shout out to Bovin again. SMTK. A good looking chart pattern, if I can say so myself. SMTK, we're just throwing in that ticker so you guys can follow along. It doesn't have a lot in the way of volume for a $1 name. It's $1.25 right now. It's done about a little bit less than 5 million shares on the day. The 5-year average is 185,000. So it's doing plenty of RVol. It doesn't mean that it's tradable. Just because it's doing a lot of RVol relative to its average volume doesn't mean it's a safe trade. But what I like about this one is the umpteen of higher lows. You're not necessarily getting higher highs on every, bump up, but you are getting higher lows. So with that in mind, you can kind of try to gauge it. I personally would go off the 10. I've seen it, weasel up and down below the volume weighted average price. Like, look at it, loses VWAP here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles before it can reclaim it, right? This time around, it ends up holding VWAP, but I'm going to base my entries and exits, entries, off the 10 EMA. Currently, the 10 EMA on SMTK is $1.20, $1.21. That's what I'll keep my eye out on there. I'm interested in executing on it, but I'm also concerned that its liquidity is, there's a little bit left to be desired. Sorry, guys, the flies, they're back. They're in full force everywhere. As you know, we're obviously going through that construction. We got the doors open and everything with that good stuff there. So that's what I'm looking at right now. You little punk.
Get him.
SMTK, yeah. Well, we gotta get that
the
Raquel.
the smart.
Yeah, the chopstick's crazy, bro. You know. Yeah. The chopstick's crazy.
Crazy.
All right,
man.
guys. LAWR has had this obsession with range. Here's the $0.25 again, Joey. We're gonna take it out here, right into that $0.25. We're gonna let this one go. I'll pick some up if it comes back into that 10 EMA again. Put some maybe at 388s, 4s, in and around that area. So. Done that trade currently on LAWR. Happy with how we executed on it. Definitely could do a little bit better, but maybe we should load up SMTK now. It's just about who we're going to take off. Duo. We're going to take off Duo. Shout out to Dua Lipa. That was a good.
Yeah. Did you play One Kiss? One kiss is all right.
I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, this guy was dancing up a storm.
So SMTK. Yeah, you're killing me, bro. $1.30 on SMTK, Bovin. It seems to be where all the resistance is right now on SMTK. It's up 52%, even though this one is weaseled into $1.36. No closing prints, Bovin. I'm sure that you've noticed this above that $1.30. So I want to see how that $1.30 starts trading once we get to it on the level 2 there. I want to see what kind of hidden orders we got because there's barely anything posted there on the size. What do you think?
Lunchtime already?
Yeah, it's lunchtime, my guy.
That's crazy. All right, we got a nice little pop back in NVDA. So, that worked out pretty good. We're knocking on the door of 77.10. What is that level on the actual underlying itself? 168, we'll call it roughly. So hopefully we can break through this and head to that next level of support and resistance, and that's going to be the primary goal. So as long as we don't establish a new low of the day, we're pretty good. We're going off to Adara and then Neil's lesson of the day.
This market almost at, we're at low of day in the last 15-minute candle, but we actually, double tapped this pre-market low. Let's see if we can hold up or break below it. The market trying to push higher off the open, but unfortunately unable to sustain that relative strength and coming back lower. We know that we did get a ruling against Trump's Liberation Day tariffs coming through on Friday. This sending the markets to a bit of a tizzy, at least pre-market right now, though. Again, it looks like we're already pushing back a little bit lower. PEP, though, was not trading lower, at least in the morning. It has given up a lot of this move. Wall Street Journal reporting that Elliott Management, that is an activist investor, they're apparently planning an activist campaign at Pepsi with a nearly $4 billion stake. Then Reuters actually reported that apparently PepsiCo commented saying they're going to be reviewing Elliott's perspectives within their own growth strategy, So PEP on watch, earnings on watch here as well. NIO reported earnings before the bell. This is a very mixed report, to put it lightly. EPS beat, or rather smaller than expected loss per share. They missed on sales. Their Q3 guidance left a lot to be desired, but we have a pretty big earnings report after the close as well with Zscaler. You can check out this infographic on X at TTV Research. Sean and myself will be giving these numbers to you guys on the Market Recap Show, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we have Neil and we have a lesson of the day. So without further ado, Neil. Take it away.
Thank you, Adara. As always, lesson of the day here at noon. And let's be real, if you were looking bearish in today's market, the issue became, well, the market's at an inflection point, which is a support zone. So there's two things you can do in a situation like that. Go long if we bounce, but if you're bearish, it requires a little bit of patience. But what you can always look for is the signs of when to strike. So if you go back, look at the Qs, in the pre-market, we were already bouncing off support, the last line of support, right back here from the 20th. And when you're at a level like this and you're bearish, you can have individual stocks that you like, that you're trying to short, or whatever it might be. But sometimes you can just look at the trend that the market is bouncing off of, right? So like when this was bouncing higher, it was right in and around here at about 10:15 or so when you broke trend and started holding lower highs. So about 10:15 to about 10:35. So it was about 20 minutes of consolidation after the trend had broke. And a lot of times, like I'll say, well, wait till a certain price level or just be incredibly patient. All of that good stuff is true. But if you can confluence that with, hey, the market is also showing signs of stopping his bounce off the lows, now would be when I want to time my shorts. And I'm going to show you an example. I'll give you a couple of examples. One, like Amazon ended up being even weaker than I thought. And ultimately, it never made higher lows. But if you look at what happened in that 20 to 30 minutes when the market was topping out, there's your lower highs, there's your wall. That's where you want to be aggressively adding to position. In this particular case, it was already a weak stock, so it was a bit of a different story. But that's your chance to get in. And I think ultimately, when I look over at, say, like Palantir also super strong. And you can identify some of these names when they gave you that curl. Palantir gave you, I'd say, one of your two best shorting opportunities in a relatively strong stock. Yes, it went to 158, but when the futures made that break, that was your chance to try to get in to the short in even an upward trending stock. Now, the reason it's the lesson of the day is because, well, I had Tesla, and I think dead to rights. If I look at the entry, it was the right price level. It was in my note 332 to 334. But if you look at when I got short and then note when the futures broke that trend, the futures broke trend and it held a double top. So the futures had broken trend and then we've double topped. There's that other entry into Tesla, which I could have had. It would have been off my level. It would have been off a double top. It would be with the futures breaking trend. That's the extra confluence you're looking for. Not just, okay, this is the price, this is the level. Well, the market's been trending up and you're going into a short position. The more reasons why the short actually is any good at that price, you should be trying to pile on and give yourself more of a reason to get into them. And a lot of times we'll just use the futures as, oh, I'll be looking at the tape, how quickly is it going up, whatever it might be. But I'm a big mean reversion trader. And if you're using mean reversion, when the market is showing you that it's breaking the trend, then that can be your signal to jump back after you said, oh, okay, the market's too strong. I don't want to keep blowing away in those shorts, getting blown away in those shorts. Wait for the time when the futures breaks that trend and then jump into your individual names. I mean, you're trading individual names because you want to get a bigger move and you think that they can give you more, but you can use the futures as that other indicator. Like, yeah, sure, I like my level on Palantir, but when the futures break that trend, okay, now's the moment when I try to snipe in on it and not before. So oftentimes we can get caught up with our own, which we should, our own bias and ideas and price levels, because that's what your analysis on individual names is going to give you. But there are moments when, especially when you're experiencing a technical bounce in the Qs, a technical bounce in the ES, that you might not want to get into your trades if they're against the grain until the futures show you a reason to start looking for that direction. Then you can just take the trade you would have normally. So a lot of times, the lesson of the day can be like hyper-focused on our individual stocks. Not this time. This time it's about using the futures to confirm on days, your entries where you're very much going against the grain and it's technically related. There's nothing wrong with trying to revert. There's nothing wrong with trying to short a pop because you still think it's valid. Today is a perfect example. Eventually we dig it back down to the lows, but your timing, the timing of it, huge hint when the Qs broke trend. Not something I usually look at enough, and certainly something I will going into the future. So there's your lesson of the day. Good luck, everybody, and yeah, market right back to the lows.
Before you send you back to the Bash Brothers, I have an update for something I know a lot of people look forward to this year. These are our Jimmy Carter picks. I update these at the end of every month to kind of see how the hosts are doing. Sean and Neil are by far winning here. As you can see, we have GEV for Neil and PLTR for Sean leading the way, though. Again, it is worth noting I calculated all of these returns as of the close on Friday. For Bitcoin, I calculated as of the close yesterday, though I actually should go back and probably do that as of Sunday because that was the end of the month. Regardless, either way, these are, I guess, how everyone's performing so far. But more interestingly, I have the wrong image loaded here. I was going to look at the returns on investment. Either way, we're still doing well. As a group, we're about 13% here to the upside. A lot of people's returns are relatively flat. That would be Sharif, Brendan, myself, and Joe. But Neil and Sean here are the only people with salient gains so far. Again, I apologize. I have the wrong infographic loaded here. If you go on X at TTP Research, you can see all those visuals. And if you keep scrolling here with these quote tweets, you can go all the way back to when I first started posting these in February. Back to you.
Okay, this is not good. What happened? Yeah, I'm getting absolutely lit up here, just like my Jimmy Carter picks there as well, too. So, yeah, this is bad news bears. I mean, this 168 level has been acting like a brick wall throughout the session, but I'm going to send it to you, Sharif, as I manage this position.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, so I got to bring to your attention two different ones. SMTK, shut it to Bovin. This one took out 130. It's holding above 130. I don't think 130 is a resistance level anymore. It is now using that, in fact, as its support level. It's up a very respectable 61.5%, 62.5%. And looking to take out more, man. And I should have been listening to ADL, baby, because this one, LAWR, took all the tops out there through 450, through 4 2/3, through 4 3/4, all the way up, breaching 4 4/5 into 484. Alas, is trying to hold that $0.50 right now with the current 5-minute candle looking awfully hammerish. Still red, though. Let's see if it's able to break above that 70 penny area. That's how it goes green. So there's all sorts of small cap gapper and small cap gapper like stocks that are moving right now in the midday and still taking and testing the highs. Case in point, SMTK and LAWR. HWH, though, I want to report to you on this one, holding near the highs. So it's obviously got a bit of a range going on here. I want to say about $7 to the high side on the closing print basis, and then about 6.5 to the low side. Clearly, it's wicked above and below that level umpteen amount of times, but when you take a good look at the closing prints, that's generally the range $7 as resistance, about 6.5, as support. So I'm trying to gauge whether or not the bulls and bears are in control based upon the higher lows and the lower highs. And it looks, at least for the last 15 minutes here on HWH, that we're in a bit of a compression pattern because we have 4 lower highs, but we got 3 higher lows. Let's see if this one is able to work and hold above that $7 area. We haven't closed anything above 7 since about 11:50. That was 20 minutes ago, so pack our patience and keep tabs on that. But here's the deal, Bovin. I'm going to get into this one. I'm going to get in with small shares, so we're going to work our way in. We got 38s here on SMTK. It loses 28. We're going to risk 10 pennies. We're out. Simple as that. Why 28s? Because I gauged 30 as support, so I'll give it a couple pennies buffer there. So if it loses 28, we're out. And if it continues to go, take out highs, perhaps test that $0.50, well, we'll be pleased as punch. So that's what I'm looking at right now. SMTK, Joey, we're going to set up at 41s. Let's see if we can get something up there. Shout out to my man, Adam. After seeing that fill above on 420 on LAWR, I'm happy. A winner is a winner. Profit is profit. Shout out to my man, ADL. Pretty Panda, waza, waza. Miss you guys. Okay, I go back to building my home. See ya in a couple of months. I caught the IPDN blast Friday, so I got my fix. I'm good for a while. See ya. We miss you, Pretty Panda. I didn't even know you were building a house, brother. Come check in from time to time, and if you want, throw some pictures my way on the gram, and I'll be happy to post them up here on the show if you're okay with obviously showing that. If not, of course, I'll keep that private. But yeah, shout out to good seeing you, Pretty Panda, and join us.
No, at any time, my friend. Join us at any time in which you please. All right, guys, let's pull up this chart. I want us to focus on the tape. So, boom, we're just continuously running into defense. Maybe if we get another push, we're going to see it displayed, but it's just consistent flushes on the bid, and that's just bad. So there it was, and look at the size. So I just scrolled back a little bit here. So you run right into that 76.80 level, and then boom, sure enough, you just got someone defending it. And look at the amount of size. So it's like 200 shares, So there's thousands and thousands of shares being using as defense right there. So hopefully that's been lifted, and then we can break through this level because we've been continuously testing it. Now that I've held it slightly longer against me than what I should have, I need a larger risk to reward, right? Because you want to keep that risk to reward obviously always positive. Maybe 1-to-1 is fine. I know there's some traders who are like, I'm willing to risk like half a dollar or like $1 to make 50 cents, and that's their system. But me personally, we got to look for higher risk to rewards. So breakthrough of this key level and back into this entry price is something primarily what we're going to be aiming for. So yeah, patience. Nasdaq starting to climb a little higher, and then here we go. 168 is that brick wall, acting like the wall of China right now. On this one, have you ever? Actually, no, you haven't. You've never been there. I want to go there.
Soon, my man. Soon.
Yeah, soon you're gonna go over there. Yeah, you definitely have to go and see what's cooking up over there on the Great Wall.
Chungcheong.
Is that where it is in Chungcheong?
No, it's called.
Chungcheong. Is that what they call it? Okay.
Yeah.
In what province?
Chongcheng Henyaoming.
Oh, yeah.
Means the Great Wall is famous.
Oh yeah. What province is it in?
It's it's in the north. It's
it goes across the whole. Yeah.
It's supposed to
right.
stop the Mongols.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The Mong. Oh yeah. What's Buddy's name again? Khan.
Which guy?
The Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about a boxer. My mind always goes to boxing.
No, Amir. My guy from my boxing gym, I told you that, Sharif, he fought Amir Khan.
No, I'm not. The guys, that's actually how you say the Great Wall. I'm not joking.
Yeah. So
literally
a guy at my boxing gym actually fought Amir Khan. He made some nice money on that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
He fought Amir Khan.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Did Khan get knocked out?
No.
That glass chin didn't shatter?
No, not that time, unfortunately. But I'm not going to wait.
Did you do the stanky leg?
No, like he did. No, not
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, definitely. I think that was versus Cal Brook or something.
Bro, he's been shook by many guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've seen what Canelo did to him.
Remember
it was
that
like
Colombian guy that knocked him into tomorrow?
Oh, did he?
What was that?
My buddy knocked him down. My buddy knocked him down.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
He knocked him down too.
Soft-ass
yeah. I remember that. Sammy Vargas, a good boxer. So yeah, there it is, guys. Starting to get that bounce, and then again, once we head right into 77s, you see that defense start to pick right up, and I don't know why. Like, come on, you can break it. We can do it. There's enough demand north of that 178, 168 level. I know there is, especially if the Qs wants to continue to climb higher. So patience, and there it is. We break through it finally. Now the volume needs to be picked up here, Sharif. Otherwise, this move will not be sustained. But where is that next target? 77.20s, and then I'm going to look to take off about 60 to 70% of the position.
All right, man. Sounds good, Joey. I'm still in this SMTK long. Here we go. We got 40 showing up right now. There's been that seller, though, above in at 40 for a hot minute, and I'm seeing more size come onto the gateway here on ARB and ARCX, now about 226 lots each, in addition to what we can't see, but we just took off a significant amount here, and then it's a hidden seller now because there's no size posted on the gateways. There's none. 41's now showing up. I'm at 41. Boom! Into the high. We'll take up some here as well. Good look. Now we're setting up at 45s. It's showing 45s. There it is, Bovin. Breakout into the high of the day. Now we're posting at 49s. SMTK. Shout out to my man Bovin. Boom, Joey, into the $half. We're still going, baby. We're squeezing into the 60s, and boom, we take it out at 60. There it is again, SMTK. We're up 94%. This one's squeezing into 100%, Bovin. What an explosion there from that $1.40 all the way into 165, quicker than you can say. Amir Khan has a glass job. Boom. No, I don't mean to harp on him. He probably has a way better job than me. Anyway, we're going to keep an eye out on this one. SMTK continuing to go, guys. Let's keep an eye on it. and look to do more. Here it is now, 167 again. That's a seller. Do we show 68s and then 69s, obviously? Seller at 67 here. So let's keep a watch right now at 67. That he's gone. Now it's 170 high. We're continuing to go. 172, guys. 174. This is on a squeeze now. It's up 107%. And it feels like the shorts are getting caught offside here as we're starting to move in a parabolic fashion. 175, 177. Sorry to keep you waiting, Adara. Let's just see where this one goes. 179, 182, 181 now, Joey. 185. The shorts are in trouble. We're going to halt to the upside over here. 181. Let's see if this halt parameter hangs out here for a little bit longer. What a move up on SMTK. The shorts got caught upside.
Keep an eye here on NVDA, NVIDIA on watch as the company's Newsroom X account. They've actually been very active lately at NVIDIA Newsroom on X. They posted regarding quote-unquote erroneous chatter in the media, claiming that the company is apparently supply constrained and sold out of their H100 and H200. They're denying these claims, saying that apparently this rumor is, quote, category false. Selling the H20 has zero impact on their ability to sell other NVIDIA products. So they're denying any claims that they have reduced their supply of H100 or H200s or Blackwell. So I guess, yeah, denying some rumors here is NVDA. Again, that newsroom account on X has been pretty active as of late. Potentially worth a follow if you trade NVIDIA. Back to you.
And
ready, Assassino?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. Exciting news for Canadian sophisticated traders. Beta Pro by Global X Canada has just launched 6 new triple leveraged ETFs offering 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60 as well as semiconductors and U.S. Treasuries. And if you want even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees down to just 65 basis points all until December 31st of 2025. These ETFs, guys, they also employ currency hedging to seek to neutralize U.S. dollar exposure, providing performance that may more accurately reflect the underlying U.S. equity indices. Pesky Forex disclosure. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, then you need to check out betapro.ca/3 times daily to learn more, Joey. That's something we don't often consider as Canadian traders, obviously. The Forex headwind that comes with owning some of these currencies.
Brother.
And that's what they're talking about, Beta Pro right there.
Remember what I was just showing you?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay, here, look, I'll show you another thing right here. Look at this. Look at this. Look
What's
at that right
Forex
there.
headwind?
Yeah,
$240 Forex headwind.
Yeah, like that's insane. What kind of BS is that?
Yeah, well, there it is.
That's what it
That's
is,
just
right?
The way that one goes.
Yeah.
I love how he's doing. What he's showing me right now, guys, is his P&L for his swing trading for the year.
Yeah.
He's up very nicely. I was congratulating him on that, man. And when he was showing me the line item for the Forex headwind that he had to take, but that's kind of the cost of doing business.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was just about to say that's the cost of doing business there. Guys, there it goes. Yes, let's go NVDA. We did take half off there running into supply zone. Otherwise, this would have been just absolutely big time for us, but that's okay. We still got 50% of the position on. I'm going to take a little bit more. So after I take this off, we're going to be 40%. So a nice little bounce there in NVDA. This is why resting orders are important, Sharif. That's why Sharif always tells us, because I'm trying to get a fill, and there we go. We finally got it. Yay, we did it. No, we caught a fill there. I'm still holding on to about 40% of the position. But yeah, again, I had to take some off. It would be ignorant of me not to, considering the steady defense that we're seeing displayed here on the tape. So I'm like, all right, I have to take it off into this supply zone. We take half off. We get that breakthrough, and then we take another additional 10% off right there. So sitting on about 40% of the remaining. VWAP is going to be the dream. I don't know if we get there, but the TQs are starting to crawl over, so that's positive for this. Let's see what some of the other big names are up to. What's my friend Goggles been up to, considering these guys are just continuously raking in more cash, more cloud deals, just more and more and more. And I think that's what you want to see most definitely as a shareholder in this name. I know Katina Man and I dumped the stock. Why? I don't know. But we'll have to definitely go back in and replay what we were thinking, especially around those specific times. But there it is. Google starting to head back towards the volume weighted average price. Nice indecision print at the lows. But one thing to note, volume isn't there. So for me personally, that's more or less of a, I wouldn't say a gamble, but you'll have more conviction within the setup if you have that isolated volume print like we experienced there on NVDA. That's what helped me stay into it a little bit longer. On the 1 minute time frame, you can see it displayed, right? So I'm looking at this this as stopping volume, essentially. Now, does it bleed a little bit lower and south of that? Yes, it does, but then eventually you get a small, cool curl over. Now we're north of this prior resistance. Let's see if it can act as support there, Sharif.
All right, SMTK, 193 top. We're still halted. 12:17:32 is the halt time. It's currently, let me check the atomic clock, 12:22. So we are going to open in about less than 30 seconds if it is going to be a 5-minute halt. So we will open at 12:22:32 if it's going to be a 5-minute halt. I think this is the first time it's halted on the day. So unless there's a reason, you know, typically we just do get these initial 5-minute halts. The top is 193, still hasn't changed. The top is a theoretical auction price. We were halted at 181, so slated to open 12 pennies higher than where we halted prior. And there we go, open right on time, 196 high now, holding down. Let's see if it comes back and test that prior area of the halt area, which is low 180s. There's a buyer at 191, also a seller at 92 that we can't shake. Let's see if we can get that 180-ish area. I like to see if this one wants to test the breakout, or not the breakout area, the halt level, because that acts as areas of support and resistance. But there it goes without me. 203 high a day. This one looks like it may want to take 204 high a day now. That 205 high a day, well, not quite. 204.5, technically the high of the day, up 137, 140%. It's trying to hold above 2. SMTK is what I'm talking about, guys. It's up 140%, give or take. So didn't quite retest that 180-ish area, but it did have a print in the 80s, and it got as low as 87. But that was not what I was looking for. I was looking for a 2 or 3, so I didn't get what I wanted there, nor did I have a plan to take it at 87. So we're going to keep watching this one right now as it's the strongest one in the market. And there it is again, 210 high a day now, baby. This one's got the goods. It's got the goods. All right, here we go, 211 high a day. Up almost 150% now. You feel like the shorts are certainly getting squeezed. I don't know what the short float is on this one, so we're going to have to fly blind at least for the moment. But we'll keep tabs on it, and if it halts again, we'll obviously give you the top. Just tag myself or Joseph in the chat, and we'll let you know what this one is up to. I'm looking at the side chart to see if anything else is making a move, and you better believe it, HWH is back into that 7.25 area. It's about 20, maybe 15 pennies away from that high at 744. So HWH is looking primed as well, baby. It's not just SMTK. There's a bunch going today, not all at the same time, but HWH very much near that high, and it's been consolidating here, I want to say, for about an hour and 15 minutes. So if we get a big pop through that 7.5, and there it is, Joseph, as we were talking about it, into 777. Shout out to Boeing, 777, the high of the day right now as we break through that $0.50. HWH is 425% in Greensville and looking to do more, baby. We could easily see 500% by the time I'm finished speaking. Wow. No, I exaggerate for effect, obviously.
I think that could be definitely in the works, brother.
It's a good looker,
man. Yeah.
It's a good looker. So were we talking about the Russ getting crapped on today? Because, well, the Russ is getting crapped on, to be fair, 1 1/3 in negative. But the small caps are still going, Joey.
They're still living in their own world there. Sharif will give you the tap for free. I charge a small fee. You know what I mean? So if you ask me, I need something.
Everything costs with this guy, bro. Everything costs with this guy.
Everything costs a little something. You know what I mean? You can't go, hey, but hey, it is what it is, guys. So if you want, ask me. But again, put the little fee behind that, and then sure enough, any donations we accept. No, I'm obviously being sarcastic.
He's not. He wants that money. He'll take that money if you have to.
I will take. If you offer, I will take. No. But at the end of the day, guys, it's all fun and games here. We're having a good day. I mean, we eliminated. We took a hefty loss on this. This is why, like, again, I held this a little bit longer than what I should have. And if I didn't, if I just got out right when I planned to at 80s, then we would have been fine. Like, we would have been bigly nice up on this one. So 2 Mars bars, I take it. I told you, I take anything, my friend. So there it is. We enter again, and then we add it. There was another add opportunity here, but this just wasn't the trade considering we're using the 2x levy. We don't want to continuously do that because when you get that, when you get south of your average price, that's when it really starts to accumulate and you end up taking a significantly bigger loss than what you want to. All right, yeah, let's take a look at Goro there, the Jameson. GRO, okay, yeah, there it is. It's starting to climb higher. Obviously, some liquidity issues as you're running into these lower price stocks, but I mean, you can't go wrong here. The thing is, what's really scares me about this is that, okay, let's take a look. So, boom, you open, you close. that's fine here. But then it's like, okay, what if you're short? You go from 54 pennies, you open up here, and then it does a little halt, or there's some consolidation, and then you open up another 10 cents there. So, okay, actually that's a cent. Okay, so I wouldn't be scared about this at all. Continue to rock and roll and push some size on this. So, yeah, nice look there. I see that super chat. $20 from our guy Gavin Irish. Made 620 on SMTK. Thanks for highlighting that one. Bang. We love seeing those. We love those figure days. 3-figure, 4-figure, even 2-figure. We like that. If it's positive, it goes into the count, and we're having a good time, guys.
Baby, that's what I'm talking about. All right, guys. Every trader knows that if you want to grow, you got to risk more. At least that's how it used to be. Trade the Pool is changing that. It's the new revolution in stock trading. You don't need a large deposit. Trade the Pool is built for any trader who wants to grow without putting everything on the line, just a small skin in the game, so to speak, and you're trading with real capital. Here's how it works. You pay a one-time evaluation fee starting at $47. That's your total risk. From there, you trade real shares, no CFDs, using the company's capital. So head on over to tradethepool.com or scan that QR code on the screen for more information. Shout out to the great folks at Trade the Pool. Shout out to Mitch as well, bringing us the goods this morning. All right. Shout out to my man Gavinish, SMTK. Couldn't be happier for you, my man. And here it is. And this gave you an opportunity, Joseph, because that bottom wick there off 161 was exactly where the volume weighted average price was on my black charts. As you know, my black charts start populating from 4 a.m., not 6:30 onwards. So my VWAP on the black charts may be different than yours, depending really upon where your VWAP starts populating from. But there it is. So you got this is a very much a candle of indecision. High of 206, low of 161 or 162, and it's somewhere in the middle right now in the mid 80s, low 90s. SMTK looking at taking out that high day at 211. We'll have to see if this one has got the goods to continue going up, baby. But this one, oh, baby, I told you, Joseph, as quickly as they are here,
just like that,
as quickly as they will break your heart. I could use all sorts of analogies right now, but I'm going to leave that where it is.
Yeah.
777s, Joseph, the high of the day, and as quick as you like, we're down into 5 double sevens now, losing that $6 area. In addition, losing the 20 EMA on the 5, and it's also, yes, for the moment anyway, below that $6 area psychological support. So, you know, I don't really have a trade on it when it's coming down like this, other than to say, observe how it trades at 5. And then observe how it trades where that white line is, wherever that white line is. That's a volume weighted average price. It's currently at about 460, 4 high 50s on my chart. But by the time, if the price makes it down there, the volume weighted average price could be a bit higher, maybe 475. So be on the lookout right now. HWH, a lot of profit taken over here as the longs look to secure those profits, baby. And that will cause a drop. Oh, no. It's really dropping here. By the way, I wanted to bring to your attention an interesting story where we don't have too much on Meta on the news today.
Yeah.
But apparently all sorts of chaos is happening in the super intelligence lab at Meta. There's beef between all of them. There's a whole bunch of stuff. People are wanting to quit. People are leaving they're leaving as soon as the onboarding process is done. So it's not all hunky-dory in Meta world.
It is not, eh?
Yeah, we threw out, you throwing around money is going to be the fix.
Yeah.
But it's not quite.
You know what
so I have a TikTok video. The reason I'm bringing this up,
yeah,
I got a TikTok video I want to show a little bit later.
Absolutely. You know what, Sharif? I think it goes for a lot of things in life. So, sometimes pooling the best talent and putting it onto one team isn't the best thing to do.
Well said, dude.
Yeah.
Well said. You got a lot of different opinions, a lot of A-type personalities that could, you know what I mean?
So it's more or less about constructing the best team, not necessarily having the best individual.
Well said, Joey.
Right? So I find a lot of that to do with sports, right? That's how I'm kind of just using it. Because you can have teams where you literally, like, look at the Brooklyn Nets when they had James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. And they just weren't that good at the end of the day, right? So sometimes putting the best players all under one roof, especially when, as Shreve just mentioned, they all have egos and claim to be our alpha males, whatever they are. Yeah, sometimes it's not too good. They clash and you can't get anything done. So it's more or less about constructing the best team and what fits best. And correlating personalities, I think, is equally as important as to allocating talent. So it's unfortunate. Wow. Maybe it's a little bit more dramatic than what we personally know. Obviously, we're not inside of what's going on at the superintelligence. But at the end of the day, I still like what Zuck's doing, and I'm really curious to see what the team will bring, because there's no question you don't spend that type of money and then not bring something to the table.
And that's what the video kind of ends at, Joey.
Yeah.
Basically, exactly what you said. Like, basically, don't look for a good Llama 4.
Yeah.
They're putting their real focus right now on Llama 5 and how it all comes out. So I sent to Assassino the video. Hopefully, we'll be able to play it for you. It's an interesting TikTok take. You should never put all of your eggs in one basket. Just because we're bringing you this information, it may or may not be accurate. It really is going to come down to you doing the homework and making sure that your investments are kosher. Guys, I got to bring back the attention over here to SMTK. We're talking a little this, we're talking a little that, but we got to make sure that we're covering these markets because they move fast and furious, baby. It's a 215 high right now on SMTK, right back down into 10s though, but we did dip aggressively, as I mentioned, into that volume weighted average price only to turn right back up, but it's a little zig and zag right now, a little above 2, a little bit below 2. What do we do with this one? I'm not going to trade this one until it sets up at a better technical area. I can't base my out on prior bar low. So if I'm the punch in right now, my stop is going to go into a random place, because if I was to give it to prior bar low, I literally have to give it to $1.58. That's more than I'm willing to risk on a $2 name. That's a lot. It's about 25% that I get to give it room there, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to wait to either clears that 215 high, and I can start using 2 as a previous area of resistance, now support, or I'm going to have to wait for a deeper retracement into that volume weighted average price. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to pack my patience on that one. Nothing to do with this one currently. But LAWR did dip down aggressively now into the volume weighted average price. So this 366, let's just say from about 3 2/3 to about 3 3/4, this is a support area right here. This is the area we couldn't break. This is the initial area that we were bull flagging at. We ended up taking that plus some. So now, do we hold up at that prior area of resistance? Again, I'm talking about that 350 to 360 area here on LAWR. It took a big dump off that 484 high, and now it's $1.20 south of that, printing 364s, and there doesn't seem to be a buyer here in the low 60s. Let's see if this one gets down into 50. It's already lost VWAP at 375. It's losing, at least for the moment, that area of psychological technical resistance. Sorry, not psychological, actual technical resistance at 360 from the earlier bull flag. It's holding up right now. Maybe if I get in here, Joey, and risk 10 pennies on this monster, we can get something out of this. But it's below VWAP, and going long here would breach my rules. So I'm going to say no to that. But I'll bring to your attention one other thing over here super quick is triple U, not quadruple U that Mitch was bringing us a bunch of times, but triple U. This one, you know, it had a very nice move in the pre. It's up 89%, but it's off that high of 710. But it did kind of find support a bunch of times here on that red line. That red line is the 50 EMA, and up it goes again. Alas, it's still a lower high, so it's not exactly a parabolic trade, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. Triple U, right above that 6 1/4 area, up 88%. Let's see if this one's got the juice to kind of continue to the high side, or what its situation is going to be. So that's the look there. How'd that go? Prep it? I appreciate you, Fabian. All right, guys, so we're going to be able to get you that, hopefully, that TikTok video shortly. Again, really what it talks about is the disharmony, if you believe the report, about what's happening in Meta right now with all the new AI acquisitions and hires. They've been poaching people from OpenAI, Apple, as well as other places. And it seems as if, it's not all hunky-dory over there, Joey. Yeah. I mean, it's expected, growing pains, baby.
Well said, Sharif. And I think to touch on the point on what I was getting at earlier, and I learned this in my days at Bell of just having to manage people, is that not only do you have to manage people, you got to manage personalities, which I think is extremely, extremely important. So there it is. Not too bad of a look. Have you seen gold today?
Yeah, Katina man couldn't
man.
stop talking about it.
I know.
So
I'm
gold,
about to be the exact same
GC,
thing.
where the hell is my gold contract over at? Oh, it's up 2.14.
Yeah.
So the December 29th contract is about to take out 3,600, 35.90.
Yeah, some really good. So I got GLD up here, and there it is. I thought that you would see a little bit of selling, and they're like, no. See you later. We're gonna continue this breakout. So a nice curl over, bottom held, and I had this graded on my weekend swing trade list, and this was a pretty much a B plus right here heading into this breakout. So 317.46, now putting a high of 324.24s on GLD. So what a phenomenal move. This consolidation is relatively lengthy. So you go from April to where we're currently breaking out in August, early September. I think there's going to be some more moves sustained in this GLD trade. So that's a really good look. We're going to start trimming some more off here on NVDL. There you go.
Can I tell you, bro? People are selling these gold bars on Marketplace. Can you imagine buying gold bars on Marketplace?
No, I would
like you'd have to get that checked out.
Absolutely. Yeah,
like that's how like popular it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, people are literally selling ounce gold bars on Marketplace.
Really?
I have no idea. It's probably lead.
Probably lead,
They're not going to see any of my money until I get that checked out.
I mean, Costco is selling them as well.
Costco, you're not going to question that from Costco. I mean,
heck
it's
no,
Costco.
or the bank. So yeah, this is working out pretty good for us there, guys. I might take some more out, but I'm curious to enough of how our day is. I'm curious to how your guys' day is going. So we're gonna do our typical emojis here. So I'm gonna tell you how essentially what went down on the session, and I want you guys to follow as well. So that's gonna be that. Then we're also going to do this, bang, right? Hopefully it allows me to post this, and then we're gonna go back to this, all right? So there's that, and then now I want you guys to follow suit as well. So there it is. I was green, went red, now back to green. So thank you all for sticking around, and obviously, but I'm curious to how your day is going. Is it red or green, or are you flat? You can put, I know some people put purple in there as flat. XRP is apparently moving, says Danny Dila. So we'll take a look at that one. Red, red, red. Start putting those in. Flat, lots of reds, lots of flats. Don't see too many greens. There we go, Uko done. Nice work there. And then I'm glad that we took a little bit more off. I do have about 20% of the position remaining, and that's that on the bounce that we experienced there on NVDL. That might be the end of it there, guys. So any nice bounce back into 77.40 or 77.50, I'm going to just close out the remainder of my 20%.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What'd you get into on the weekend?
I was just working on some stuff. I showed you that.
Yeah.
Was outside with the dog for a bit, just chilling at the park. Ate a horrible. Oh, the gyms were great. Gym sessions were good. Yeah, in the morning, crushed legs and core one morning. Then we did shoulders and back the next day.
That's crazy.
And then Monday.
Outdoor park, or did you?
No, I was downstairs. Yeah, I went downstairs. More chilly in there. And then yesterday, yesterday it was just kind of just like a free roam day. Some days I have those where I'll just go crush some push-ups.
Active recovery,
curls.
baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Active recovery.
And then I'll do body weight squats because my knee. I tried doing some goblets, but my knee just won't have it.
It's not
good for it. No, yeah, it's not good for it. So that was it. So I just tried to rep out as many body weights.
Did you ever try the what's it called, those incline things that you put under your foot to kind of shift the weight on your heel?
You know what I do? So yeah, so right in front of the mirror, there's like they have the mats on it, and there's like a double thick mat. So it gives you about an inch and a half. So I just put my heels on there when I'm doing my body weight. I put my heel on there, and then I just rep it up.
You're already doing that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it's SMTK show, bro. Yeah, another midday mover. Here we go. It's a 225 high of day. It's now up 158%, almost 160%. And this thing is all sorts of strong. Shout out to Bovin. It's given you multiple opportunities to get back in. I don't know why, but like I feel like after 12:30, my mind shuts down and I'm less inclined to want to punch into these positions because it gave me many opportunities. I'm talking about 3 times, many's 3 for me. First off VWAP, then off VWAP again, and you probably guessed what the third opportunity was. Yes, another VWAP entry as VWAP was moving up with the price action, and now we have a 225 high. We're showing 15s right now, a lot closer, obviously, to the high of the day than we are VWAP or the low of the day, obviously. And here we go again. Here's 23s. Can we get more than 25s? The answer to that is no so far. There's a seller at 25 that we can't shake. I'm talking about SMTK, guys, up 165%. And this one's all sorts of strong during the midday here. So be on the lookout. If you're going to trade this, for goodness sake, trade it carefully because it has a way of flipping the script. Just ask HWH if you don't believe me. But now, we do have the video ready, which is a perfect segue to kind of wind down a little bit of the trading and get into our new segment. So, Assassino, if you're ready. Can't hear it.
Happening at Meta right now. If you remember, a few weeks ago, they were all over the news for spending hundreds of millions poaching top AI researchers from other firms. And now it's looking like some of those hires aren't sticking around. Apparently, the most recent one is Shengjia Zhao, who is one of the creators of ChatGPT. He joined Meta from OpenAI, but within a few days threatened to quit. And he actually went so far as to sign paperwork to go back to OpenAI. So in order to keep him, Zuck allegedly was scrambling and handed him the title of Chief AI Scientist. You have Avi Verma, who's another former OpenAI researcher who completed his onboarding at Meta, but then never showed up for his first day. Ethan Knight, who's a machine learning scientist who lasted only a few weeks before leaving. And Rishab Agarwal, who joined in April, but just announced on X that he's out only after a few months. And it's not just happening to new hires either. You have longtime veterans, people who have been at Meta for close to a decade, also leaving in the middle of all these org shakeups. What's becoming super clear is that the transition here hasn't been smooth. The new recruits are clashing with Meta's culture, there are complaints about bureaucracy, bottlenecks in getting resources, and just generally around the constant reshuffling. Meta's already reorged its AI division 4 times in the last 6 months, so we'll see if another one is coming. So we have more reports of drama.
So again, guys, never really want to rely on
remember,
any one source for, as the end all and be all, but just something to be on the lookout for. So if we're really bullish on Meta for Llama 5, I still am very bullish on Zuck. I think he's a hell of a creator. But, every company is going to have those growing pains. Joey, all right, do you want to let them know anything before we start the news?
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought I was going to get some there. All right, so we're going to take a little bit more off there, guys, at this high. So there it is. I got essentially nothing left, less than 10% of this position remaining. So a nice little grab there in NVDA.
Uniworld Tech, 100% Uniworld Tech. No, I play it. All right, let's get to the first headline over here. Oh, baby. Treasury yields jump as a court ruling threatened these tariff revenues. So let's get right to it, Assassino. So the court, well, first let's go through these different Treasury yields. So the 10-year Treasury rose 6 basis points, now up above 4.25, with the 30-year, hitting a high of, 4.978. That's a 6 basis point hike. It's basically on the verge of taking 5%. I'm looking at it on my side chart. The longer dated part of the curve obviously has a lot to do with the growing fiscal deficit. The 2-year yield climbed also as well 3 bips up to 3.652, reflecting the upward pressure across the curve. Yields moved higher as bond prices fell, signaling investor concerns about the fiscal pressure. What fiscal pressure are you guys talking about? What's new since we left it on Friday? Well, a federal appeals court ruled in a 7-4 decision that most of Donald Trump's global tariffs were illegal, saying only Congress can impose these broad levies. The tariffs, however, will remain in place as Trump pledged to appeal to the Supreme Court, calling the ruling partisan, according to him. Tariffs were expected to generate, Joey, about a little bit less than $103.25 billion, so about $172.1 billion in all of 2025. That's a projection, a significant revenue stream, obviously, for the U.S. government, who's fiscally strapped. If upheld, the ruling could force the U.S. government, possibly, this is just being speculated at the moment, to refund the tariffs it's already collected, worsening the deficit. Analysts warn in such a case, if that was to happen, the Treasury may have to issue more treasuries because they would have to generate new money to pay off the existing people who paid these tariffs illegally, apparently, and that could worsen the fiscal position for the United States, Joseph. So this is all undecided at the moment, but something that the market doesn't like, and you can just ask all 4 major averages negative over 1%.
Yeah. I mean, again, they're calling his moves illegal. Sure, but isn't it somewhat working out? Isn't Donald striking deals in favor of the U.S., running it as essentially a business? And now with these tariffs, yeah, we get it. It's essentially a consumption tax, but we can't maintain these 2020 level or 2022, 2021 post-COVID levels of spending. So I really like that Donald is doing it. It didn't seem good at the beginning, but a consumption tax, we don't need everything materialistic, in my opinion.
Remember when we first, like we're just talking about Canada, remember it was the national security over fentanyl, and then that kind of dropped by the wayside a little bit. It's like, well, you know, I've had the power to do this. He stopped mentioning fentanyl as often as he did.
Well, we know at the end of the day that was just his scapegoat essentially to get him to do what he wanted to. Fentanyl is obviously a major issue, but is it enough to slap the whole world with tariffs? Probably not. No.
This is going to be very interesting to see how it goes into the Supreme Court. Adara, what's your take on all this? It's a really kind of it's nascent, let's just say that. It's the first time it's been struck down, but importantly, Adara, this is an appellate level court that struck it down.
Yeah, I think that level of court is pretty significant here. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is one of those stories where we're going to have to wait and see, I think, right? We're going to have to see how this continues to progress. We know that I don't think this is going to really stop the Trump administration, truthfully, unless there's like, you know, a hard line. You guys cannot do this. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 of tariffs or whatever. You know what I mean? I think there kind of needs to be another line in the sand here for the administration to really care about that. In terms of, I guess, the payback aspect of this, that's what I'm really fascinated in. How are they going to actually facilitate that? How would that work? I have lots of questions. And I honestly think if that is what they end up basically forcing out, I think they should come up with a really clear plan ahead of time so that everybody knows what the score is, because I think this runs the risk of being a bit chaotic.
Yeah, well, analysts at the moment, Adara, they're projecting that the Treasury will have to issue new government debt in order to pay this stuff off, which obviously worsens the fiscal situation because I think that they're already heavily in a deficit. You and I have talked about this many times, about $1 trillion a year, Adara, are being just spent by the U.S. Federal government in paying off the interest on the current debt. So I think that probably worsens the situation.
One more thing, too, if I might. I think the other thing as well here, in terms of how they actually do the payments, is we know some businesses have taken it on the chin a little bit with tariffs. Others have passed it on to the consumer, right? So how do you actually decide who gets paid back, right? That's, I think, also a pretty interesting element in addition to, of course, the turmoil or whatever extra added chaos with regards to the government debt with the bond situation. I think actually determining how the money gets distributed is going to be pretty interesting should that end up happening.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, Adara. All right. Let me know, SSE, know if we want to do that. When to do it, because I don't even know what the account. Oh, actually, I do. So just I want to shout out the individual's account there that we just showed her video. Her name is Zoe at ZAUEY on TikTok, and she's got great information. I follow her at times, so just want to definitely give her a shout out there because that is obviously her content. So we just want to give her credit for her content there. All right, let's go on to the next headline there. NVIDIA. Before I do that, I just want to let you know that SOGP is freaking out right now. It just got into the high of the day of 22.30 there. This is the stock on, this is the 5-minute on SOGP. It's taken out 23.20. That's the high of the day. It's up 85%, so be on the lookout there. Sorry to digress for a sec. Let's talk about NVIDIA, AMD, chips in general, because we know Abu Dhabi-backed G42 is seeking chip supply partnerships with AMD, Qualcomm, Cerebras systems to reduce their reliance on NVIDIA. As we know, Joey, NVIDIA dominates AI hardware, but heavy dependence exposes firms to supply bottlenecks and price risks. Okay, I'm just going to have to mute my phone because that doesn't work out for me. All right, G42 is building a UAE artificial intelligence campus positioned as a global hub for advanced AI research and infrastructure. Negotiations are underway between G42 and AWS, Azure, Meta, XAI, and Google also reportedly in the most advanced talks to join as a tenant for this data center build-out out in Abu Dhabi. The campus aims, Joey, to anchor G42 as a central player in the AI ecosystem, blending hardware access with cloud and software innovation. Microsoft Microsoft also deepened its ties with G42 with a $1.5 billion investment this year and a $1 billion developer fund, expanding that joint AI services across the Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia. And G42, it's not just partnering with the hyperscalers, they're in bed with OpenAI as well to roll out solutions in the Middle East. And chip diversification here, though, Joey, you feel, for them anyway, super important. They do not want to be reliant on any one company.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to, but does that mean they're going to be? I mean, at the end of the day, right, we know how dominant, and there's a reason why everyone is buying NVDA chips. But as I read through some of the notes, Sharif, all I'm seeing is with these G42 countries, all I'm seeing is American company, and more America. So at the end of the day, who's going to benefit from this? We know that the billion-dollar deals that they've been striking in the likes of NVDA across the Gulf Coast, kind of to, I guess, subsidize what they were missing in China, not completely, but reduce some of that potential balance sheet loss. Now, for me personally, I think it's going to continuously grow throughout their build-out. They have their Stargate equivalent. So I forget the name of it, to be honest with you, but how they're building all their AI data centers, their Stargate version. I forget what the name. No, but it's not Stargate.
I think they just called it the Middle Eastern Stargate.
Did they? I don't know. Like there's a different name to it. There's a different name to it. Yeah, but anyways, they're going to continuously spend. And for me personally, I think down the road, their deals are made until 2029, I believe, with NVDA. They're going to renew them, and they're probably going to up their shipment orders as well too, because those guys got boatloads of cash.
Before we get to Adara's take on this, shout out to Trader Gibby on X. Thank you very much, brother, for the $20 super chat. It says as follows. Let me make sure I read this right. Hi, guys. Love the show. I've been consistent at catching multiple 100% gainers every week with proper risk management. Thanks, Sean. My struggle is selling too early. How did you hold with confidence once the setup was working? I'm sure the Katina man will love to answer that question for you once he gets back on the show. But thank you very much, brother, for that $20 super chat.
That was for Katina man, that question?
Thanks,
thanks,
right?
Sean. Oh, yeah. But I mean, how are you selling too early when you have 100% return? I think you're doing pretty good.
I would say so.
If that's the case, I wouldn't say that's early. But also, if you want, what I personally do is obviously peace out and leave a little bit of a runner. Get out what you're comfortable with, and then just leave the rest, whether it be 70%, 60%, 50%, and then let the rest run, and then just continuously piece it out. And that's kind of what we did here with NVDA. If we can pull up the chart, we're all out of this here now. 50% right there, and then the remaining 50%, we just piece out, and then eventually I get all out right there, my friend.
All right, Adara, let's hear what your take is here on G42 lessening their reliance on NVIDIA.
You are correct, or at least closer here with the name of the Stargate project. It's called Stargate UAE. Yeah, I would say you are more or less correct there with the name of that Stargate project. Now, with regards to the NVIDIA story, yeah, I think like the take that Joe kind of said, I think is interesting. Like just the idea that either way, it's still going to be an American company, right? It sounds like that's massively what they're favoring. So, yeah, I think honestly, in terms of the wider scale of things, we know there will be some American companies, of course, in talks that will benefit from this, even if one of them isn't NVIDIA. Google apparently is the closest in talks with regards to, I guess, being a tenant at the data center. So I think maybe this is more of a Google story than it is an NVIDIA story. And I only say that because NVIDIA has so many different eggs in the basket. I think for NVIDIA, China is going to be probably the overwhelming catalyst, at least on probably traders and investors' mind, until this gets sorted out in any kind of definitive way. With that in mind, too, I do want to quickly mention the other NVIDIA catalyst that came out intraday that I mentioned. NVIDIA on X via their newsroom X account, NVIDIA Newsroom, they basically denied any claims that they're actually having issues here with supplier demand for their H100, H200, and Blackwell chips. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, kind of interesting stuff. I think with a lot of these stories where things are rumored and things are unsure and things are reported, I like to kind of wait and see. We know sometimes things are buy the rumor, sell the news. Maybe this case for NVIDIA, it'll be sell the rumor, buy the news.
Oops.
Great, thank you. Let's go on to Amazon Prime Day. Boosts sales but misses sign-up target. Oh no. Amazon added, according to this article, 5.4 million new U.S. Prime signups during that 21-day Prime Day run-up and that 4-day event that lasted between July 8th to 11th. This was about 116,000 fewer than it added last year, and about 106,000 below internal targets, about a 2% decline year over year, and versus the company's goals as well. During the 3 weeks prior to Prime Day, however, Amazon signed up about 3.9 million members, missing the goal again here by about 193,000, which is about a 5% miss there. By contrast, the 4-day Prime Day event itself, which was July 8th to 11th, saw 1.6 million just U.S. signups, not even international. We don't have that yet. Beating the internal target by about 87,000, which is about a 6% beat, give or take. Let's talk about the financial significance of that Prime Day event. Prime members spent on average about $1,170 in 2024. So if you're a Prime member, on average, Prime members were spending that much. I'm not even close to that. And I've been a Prime member for many years, compared with $570 for non-Prime members. Subscriptions are highly lucrative, though, for Amazon because they drive about almost $24 billion in revenue in just the first half of 2025, giving you that data point on its own without even having what's spent with that. Prime has been steadily repriced now, about $140 annually, $139 US dollars. That's up from the $79, excuse me, back about 20 years ago when it launched back in 2005. The performance on Prime Day, CEO Andy Jassy called Prime Days Amazon's biggest day ever, citing record sales and billions saved by customers. Internal data showed sales strengthened, but mixed success in converting their non-members into Prime subscribers. That's a big metric for them. Analysts stress Prime's strategic value, which are its members are stickier, they spend more, and they resist competitors' offers. Speaking of those competitors, we know Walmart's been doing all sorts of craziness on their end. Amazon faces rising pressure, Joey, from Walmart Plus, which has expanded perks and fast delivery options, and now they're giving third-party sellers a space on their website. So in the same way that Amazon allows third parties to sell off its platform and does all the logistics for them, Walmart Plus is offering the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Walmart's e-commerce sector has been grabbing share from Amazon.
We know that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we've been monitoring it for some time now as well, too. But Shreve, as for Amazon Prime here,
it's a great trade, bro.
On NVDA, yeah, thank you. I'm out of it now, so yeah, it worked out for us. So we're happy about that one. But as for Amazon Prime, I think a lot of and what I'm referring to is the street. They're like, yeah, that's great that Amazon's an e-commerce business, but we don't really care about the e-commerce side.
Oh.
It's AWS, and obviously with all the hyperscalers and cloud spend, who's going to benefit the most from that? It's those top three, right? We got Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud. So that's how I'm looking at it. I think that you got the increase in Prime membership is an absolute bonus, but the hyper focus, in my opinion, is AWS. This is just the icing on top of the cake.
That's fair. I respect that. Yeah, it's the big money driver. Dara, this is interesting here because they did really good during the actual 4-day event, but prior to that, they hadn't been doing as well according to their internal metrics. Do you feel there may be some retail pressure here? Is the consumer finally getting squeezed?
I mean, I don't think so. Andy Jassy himself said it was a record event. Like, I was just going to say, I kind of think this story is a bit of a nothing burger. As Neil and Sean were talking about this morning, it's likely to, I mean, a lot of people who are going to be signed up for Amazon Prime have already signed up, right? Now, as someone who actually signed up for Amazon Prime leading into the event, I guess I'm actually part of the metric that they missed on. I think they're still going to be signups, but I think this is such an odd metric to begin with. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not something I realized they measured. And if you still have the CEO saying it's like their best event ever, then clearly this isn't a metric that they care too much about. At least that's my interpretation of this. So I don't know. We'll see. I think if it's like a recurring pattern, that might be more of a concern. But it's 1 year. Andy Jassy does maintain that it was the best ever Prime, and they still had better than expected subscribers during the event itself. So I don't really know how much of an issue this is. I think, again, traders maybe cared about it a little bit today, but we'll have to, again, I think this is something that we can't really comment on until we see it as a pattern, which we certainly haven't yet.
Yeah, so I just wanted to focus on the biggest day ever. Yeah, absolutely. Their Prime Day and their Prime 4-day event was by far the best. But what I was trying to focus on was preceding that. Their metrics were down substantially year over year. In fact, they missed their goals prior to that by 193,000. They only beat their goal on the 4-day Prime by 87,000. So to me, the miss is a little bit more outweighing than the beat. Like, look, here's what
I agree. But I'm saying I don't think Andy Jassy cares, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think the company cares.
Yeah.
With that in mind, I don't really know how much stock we should put into this, again, unless it is a recurring pattern. That's my take on that.
Interesting. Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, one last thing. I'm curious. What do you think? Do you think that some of these streaming sites take the Netflix route and stop releasing their subscriber growth from month over month to year over year?
They could. They're totally within their right to do that, but the investors are also within their right to kind of sell or not be as bullish.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. But it's been positive for Netflix, I think, in my opinion. Right? They're consistently raising their yearly subscription, whatever it may be, and then they're putting on big events as well too. So it's like that was swept under the rug. Can you see some of in the likes of Disney and Amazon Prime start to follow the same path and say, hey, we're not.
I could see that if it was negatively affecting their business. But so long as it positively affects it, Joey, they're going to want to dance all over that.
They're going to want to release it. Yeah. But I mean, so what? Do we think that it was negatively affecting Netflix?
The speed at which they were adding, yes, it was slowing down.
At some point, you're going to slow down when you're that big.
And I think that's what they're worried about. But go ahead,
All right, guys. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Oragenics, OGEN, is changing that with rapid first-in-class intranasal drug design for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach over $8.9 billion by 2027, Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. And there goes NVDA continuing to climb higher. Well, I'm all out of it now. So, again, we're happy with this one. Again, VWAP was really nice. I didn't think we were going to get back there today, but nice bounce off of the lows, and we're not too far from that level.
All right, let's go on to the next topic. Apple's down, one of the worst performing Mag 7 names today, down 1 3/4, but JP Morgan reiterated their overweight rating on Apple with a $255 price target. It was trading around $232 in the pre-market, trading around $228 right now. Other bullish calls include Goldman Sachs reiterating their $266 price target. Bank of America also at $250. We know, though, that we don't have to wait that long. September 9th is when Apple is expected to unveil the iPhone 17 series as well as the new Apple Watch lineup. The highlight will be the slimmer iPhone Air, at least that's what analysts are predicting, positioned between the base and the Pro models. Supply chain expectations are about 10 to 15 million iPhone Air units for the second half of 2025. We haven't talked about 26, though analysts see room for potential upside if the consumer demand surprises and they need to sell more. Pricing is critical, though, in China. There's a reason for that. Where smartphones under about 6,000 yuan, which is about $840, well, they qualify for a 15% discount, which would boost Apple's competitiveness. So you got to think about where Apple's likely wanting to price certain models of the iPhone to take advantage of that $840, 6,000 yuan sort of deal. The services expansion as well will be in focus. Apple Music curated radio stations and launching on TuneIn, expanding reach about 75 million monthly active users outside Apple's app ecosystem, which marks another push, Joey, to grow the services revenue, which is a core margin driver. And let's just call a spade here. How long will Apple be able to realize that 50 some odd billion coming from goggles, coming from Alphabet, for being the default search engine? I say that for one of two reasons. One, the regulator could get involved, and that could be, you could put the kibosh on that. Or two, search as a business could dry up and not warrant that kind of investment by Google's as a result of LLMs. What's your look?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned this before, like just kind of the transition from a blue link society into just a single search using the LLMs, right? So that can most definitely play a factor in it. People not needing all the continuous links. You just go onto your chat GPT, whatever it may be, and it tells you. My friend's writing itineraries. He's like, I did an itinerary on Grok for our Chicago trip, just all through there, and not having to click through. He's like, give me what's fun and exciting for younger people in there, etc. But as for that, again, it just might be the transition from blue link to just single search. But again, with the iPhone 17, we all know that Dan Ives thought that super cycle was going to come in with the 16. but it didn't necessarily. Why? Because of the flop of Apple Intelligence. I'm really curious to see what they got going on. There's a new beta version of 26 out. I didn't download it, but they did take away some of the glass effects. Because a lot of people were complaining.
Can't read it, right?
Yeah, you can't read it, right? So a lot of it did move back, but for me personally, it's just the release of Apple Intelligence and an updated Siri, obviously, that can really drive a super cycle into the 17 that we essentially missed with the 16 because the flop of the release of Apple Intelligence.
All right, Adara, we know you're going to be covering this Apple event very closely. What are you looking forward to the most?
Looking for, I know last time really we had that sell-off after they said, oh, we're going to work on AI in 2026. I think they honestly, in my opinion, they should not mention AI unless they're going to give us a better timeline than we expect. Now, what I want to talk about here too a little bit is just both iPhone revenue and then more specifically iPhone revenue in China, because I know that's something that was a concern and that was just mentioned here. So this infographic is not super up to date. It says a fiscal 2023, so I'll probably update this before the event. But either way, as you can see here, that blue is going to be iPhone revenue. Now, in 2023, we actually had a decline in iPhone revenue on a year-over-year basis, right? So we're seeing already that this metric kind of lessened again. I need to get the 2024 comparisons. If you look here, this is our Apple revenue by region, again, up to 2023. And you can see here China, which is the purple, was relatively actually stagnant between 2022 and 2023, right? So maybe these concerns about China sales to an extent are not as warranted. Again, I'll need to get the 2024 numbers up there. But either way, I think like the iPhone sales decrease across the board is pretty significant. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here with regards to I guess this new 17, but honestly, in my opinion, in terms of what I'm looking for the event, as you asked me, I'm looking for them not to mention AI. I actually think them mentioning AI at this point will hurt them. We know that we had that drop last time they mentioned it at the previous event. So I think in that case, like if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it, Apple. Just do not say it. The internet loves Craig, that one guy from the exec team. And like, you know, Craig, we like you more when you don't, you know, say things about AI that we don't want. I actually have to say the opposite about Apple that I do with, you know, with Elon Musk. I'm like, just stop giving us unrealistic timelines that are too quick. With Apple, I'm like, stop pushing back timelines. Either way, you know, maybe just don't say anything. You're right, they probably will say something, but I hope if they do, that it's going to be actually a better timeline than we think.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, me neither.
To add to her point, though, the last keynote, they set the bar pretty low because
they used a lot of Apple Intelligence on the last earnings call.
Did they mention
that was insane.
Yeah,
you could tell it was super scripted. So the fact that they don't say Apple Intelligence is,
well, they said,
I don't think it's
like I said, the keynote, they set the bar low. Yeah. Now it's okay. Now they're going to raise it a little bit, and hopefully they meet.
They couldn't stop saying it on the call. I'll tell you that. Anyway, let's go on to Pepsi. Pops on Elliott $4 billion activist stake. So Elliott Investment Management acquired about a $4 billion stake in PepsiCo, making it one of the activist investors' largest equity bets ever that they've ever taken. The stake places Elliott among Pepsi's top 5 active shareholders. That obviously excludes ETFs, guys. That's just only for active shareholders. The stock, I don't know where the stock is up. Let's find out what it's up year to date right now. PEP, where are we at, Peps? We're up 0.73%, so not doing much on the year. That's a year-to-date move for Pepsi. What else? So the company's faced weakness, as we know, in its core soda business, losing shares to rivals in recent quarters. Its food division, which has historically been a good growth driver for the company, is actually now under pressure, adding to the concerns that investors already had. Shares have lagged the broader consumer staples market, leaving room for activist pressure to push for restructuring and strategic pivots. And what's Elliott's playbook here? What are they looking to do? So even though they haven't made their specific demands clear to the market, Elliott is known for driving operational overhauls as well as pushing for cost cuts, divestitures. I like you to spin off parts of your business, and they're very activist when it comes to the board. They like to have their own people on there, especially in underperforming firms where they can feel they can add value. Given the size of the stake, that it's their largest bet ever, one of, Elliott likely aims to influence Pepsi's long-term strategy and capital allocation, Joey. Investors may speculate on the potential spin-offs versus, whether they're going to go beverage versus snacks, their margin improvement initiatives, Joey, or whether or not they're going to put money back into the hands of the shareholder through a dividend or buybacks.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the GLPs did have effect on that, on the price of the stock, obviously. But I'm curious to see, as you mentioned, Sharif, the transition into more lower calorie drinks and healthier snacks, which I think that they're working on here. So as for PepsiCo, off of these lows, the June lows, at that peak, you're up 23%. But as Sharif mentioned, year to date, you're just holding on to it. And by the chances by the end of the session that this gap being filled are there and you going negative year to date are also there. But for me personally, I'm just curious to see what they got coming in the pipeline from a healthier snack standpoint and a low calorie beverages.
What's your look here, Dara? Is this a big move for our friends at Elliott, or are they kind of climbing up the wrong tree over here?
I mean, I don't know. I think either way, it's interesting to note that Pepsi, according to Reuters, I guess a Pepsi spokesperson said this, Reuters cited them saying that Pepsi is willing to work with Elliott with regards to, I guess, their own turnaround and growth plans. And we know Pepsi already last week had an announcement with Celsius with regards to switching up their energy drink brand. Right? They're really giving that over to Celsius to kind of, hey, like you take charge of these brands, you take charge of the marketing here. So I think it sounds like Pepsi already has a bit of a turnaround plan. Now, what I think will be interesting is if that turnaround plan actually aligns with or contrasts with what Elliott wants to do. That's my take on this. I think that the timing of the Celsius announcement with this announcement is pretty fascinating. I don't have too much more to say on it, quite honestly.
Thanks, Adair. Meta Eyes AI partnerships while advancing Llama 5. So let's get to this because we kind of gave you that Meta headline a little bit earlier. Sorry, as my chair continues to malfunction. Meta is in talks with Google and OpenAI to power AI features on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. The company's already tested Anthropic's Claude model internally for its coding assistance. The deal here with rivals is seen, sort of as a short-term bridge while Meta develops or its own next-generation models. As we've heard, Llama 4, Llama 3 haven't been well received by the market. We're going to wait for Llama 5, see how it does, but they really are going double hard on this open sourcing initiative to kind of differentiate themselves from OpenAI and others. Meta's AI unit, though, Meta's Super Intelligence Labs, is focused on building Llama 5 to compete directly with Gemini and ChatGPT. Development, though, will take time, so outside partnerships, at least in the short term, to fill the gaps make sense in the near term. The strategy reflects, though, Joey, Meta's mix of open source, which is the Llama releases, as well as their proprietary scaling. Should pause here for a second to let you know that it's only pseudo open source. If you use more than a certain amount of tokens, you're going to get dinged. They're going to charge you money. So you're not going to be able to leech off their LLM and use their API for free. If you're going to be a big user, you will have to cough up some money. Meta, as we know, signed a 6-year, $10 billion agreement with Google Cloud for servers and storage, underscoring the need for the massive compute and resources that comes with building these AI models. Despite the rivalry, though, between the two companies, Meta and Google, infrastructure partnerships highlight the mutual benefit of scale for AI buildouts and billions also, Joey, being poured into new data centers, not just these concretes, baby. No. It's just not Caterpillar building these. No, I'm kidding, of course, involved in the name. Reinforcing Meta's long-term AI infrastructure roadmap.
Yeah, I mean, I think Zuck's going to be doing just fine right now. We're not going to expect an ROI on this. But for me, I think it's a horse race with some of these LLMs. You have ChatGPT, obviously, in first place, but they're just continuously passing each other and one getting better than the other. And we haven't really experienced that in the Llama series yet on its prior versions. But I think with what the team that he's established and that he's built, watch out. It will probably be one of the more popular used ones if they do get it right, and Llama 5 being a positive or a successful release.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm always rooting for Zuck. I like him. Dara, this is an interesting take here. Enemies in general, but at least in the short term, we're friends if you help me get to my goal, so to speak. Well, yeah, I mean, with that in mind, I actually find this to be kind of an odd story because even, as it says in the notes here, Microsoft and OpenAI, that alliance, plus Google and their Gemini push, those are actually rivals to Meta. So the fact that they're teaming up with these rivals makes you wonder, are these rivals even really incentivized to actually help them in a meaningful way, right? So I don't know. I want more details
on this. You know what I mean? This is just a pretty vague report. And I think the fact that they're purportedly looking to work with the competitors, like I said, I don't know how incentivized Google or OpenAI would be with that aspect in mind. And B, it makes you wonder what the extent of Meta's AI struggle is that they're even looking to turn to these individuals in the first place, or these entities, sorry. So yeah, I want more context. It's kind of hard to make too much of this right now, as vague as it is. But yeah, I mean, we know that Meta does have that Google Cloud deal. I would say, at the very least, that the Google Cloud pair up to me, or sorry, not Google Cloud, just Google in general, Gemini, that makes more sense to me than an OpenAI pair up. Also, because we know that Sam Altman was pretty critical of Zuckerberg's aggressive AI poaching strategy earlier this year.
Yeah, and that absolutely makes sense. I mean, what kind of incentive do they have other than money for wanting to help Meta? Absolutely. I agree your point there, Adara. Thank you for that. Makes absolute sense. Let's go on to the next story. Tesla faces China sales slump amid intensifying competition. So some silver linings to the story, a lot of year-over-year negatives, but when you look a little bit deeper, the month-over-month, not that bad. Let's get right to it. So Tesla's China-made EVs fell 4% year-over-year in August, Joey, following a steeper 8.4% drop year-over-year for July. Despite being Tesla's second largest market outside the United States, sales in China have been volatile throughout all of 2025. So let's get right to them. Deliveries of the Model 3 and the Model Y from Shanghai, including the exports, surged 22.6% month over month to about 83,192 units, or exactly that many. The stronger export performance to Europe and other regions helped soften China's domestic weakness. So even though they're maybe not selling as much of the domestically produced China-made EVs in China, they are finding markets outside of China for that, specifically in Europe, which has me scratching my head because we look at these European numbers and they're down aggressively year over year, like 40-some-odd%. So who the hell is buying these outside of China if China's not buying them? That's what doesn't make sense to me. Still, Tesla's Europe sales plunge, as I mentioned, down 40.2% year-over-year in July, trailing BYD, despite overall EV growth in the continent. It's not like they're buying less EVs. No, they're buying more. They're just not buying Teslas. The pricing move. Let's talk about this, Joey, because they're trying to move the needle there with price. Tesla cut the Model 3 rear-wheel drive price by about 3.7% on Monday. That's for China. Less than a month after they launched it to boost the demand. They also began deliveries of a 6-seater Model Y called the Model YL. It's priced about 339,000 yuan, which is a slightly above that Xiaomi SUV, which is the main competitor right now for the Model Y in China. Tesla previously refreshed the Model Y in January, known as Juniper, but the uptake's been weaker than expected, Joey.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here, Sharif, and I'm obviously curious to hear what you think about this, but as for the supremacy of Tesla's EV just dominating the space, I think we're starting to see that absolutely cool down as you see some of these Chinese EV companies head into Europe and other places and just start dominating the space and taking market share from Tesla. There's multiple things that we need to keep an eye out for. Where's the Model 2? As you mention all the time, they got drones flying over the Gigafactory in Austin, and there's no signs of much. So the chances of them being released by 26 are probably relatively low. So with this name, I've said it once, I'll say it again. You got to be forward-looking and look for the robotics and for the autonomy.
You just brought a fantastic point. We're going to get to that in the next story. You just brought up the cheaper EV, that the Model 2 or Model Q, whatever the hell they're going to call it, as hurting them. And the next story, I want to kind of preface it super quick. We're going to see how good the Chinese EVs did as a result of that smaller model. So you're basically right on the nose with that.
Like, we know that the margins on the 2 are probably going to be absolutely horrendous.
No, but they move the needle.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. You think it can be a complete? I think autonomy and the robotics will move the needle drastically.
Oh God, yeah, 100%. Look at the margins on that are going to be like 80-some-odd%.
Yeah.
Dara, this is interesting here. I mean, I don't know what to make of this. Their Chinese sales are down, but their Shanghai production surged 22.6% month over month because they're able to sell these China-made vehicles outside of China. But Europe's not buying them. Where the hell are they going, Adara?
Maybe they're just going to, like, Norway? I don't know. I mean, all jokes aside, I'm really, this is a bizarre.
I don't blame you.
Bizarre report. Like, you're right, because the math is not mathing to put it that way. It's a very confusing look. And I mean, yeah, it's very clear that people in China don't want Teslas. It's the one thing we can absolutely ascertain from these numbers. If the sales are down, but the deliveries are apparently up, but the deliveries aren't going to China. So it's one big, question mark. Now, one thing I do want to mention with regards to Tesla revenue, where Elon sees the company going forward, he actually posted, I believe earlier today, about how he sees robotics being about 80% of Tesla's revenue going forward. So we know he hasn't exclusively seen it as a car company, but that is a staggering number. And I don't know if we have enough yet from Optimus to support that. But either way, we know Elon Musk, he's a forward thinker. But here's the thing, though, Joe, what you mentioned with Tesla being forward thinking. At a certain point, it's a little too forward thinking.
Absolutely.
If we have Elon Musk saying these numbers like over a year ago, we're going to get this Model 2, whatever, the cheaper model production, and it's never happened. So, again, I will continue to, my only issue with Elon Musk is the timelines. That's going to continue to be my issue. And I just think that if we can
show me a picture. Show me something, bro. Show me a picture. Like Apple showed us pictures of their crap, their Apple Intelligence crap. At least we saw a picture there. Right. Just leak a picture.
Or give us an actual production timeline. Elon Musk says the thing, the market gets excited about the thing that was said, and then years later there is no evidence of the thing. Now, I mean, we know he does eventually deliver. Cybertruck was an example, although there was, the car break that shocked the world. But yeah, I mean, I think a little bit more meat on the bone, especially with Tesla struggling as much as it is. I think that would be very much warranted.
I agree with that.
What were the July deliveries for Tesla?
I'd have to go back and look.
In EU?
I'd have to
something
go back.
absolutely ridiculous.
It's in my notes.
It was 800 vehicles or something.
It was
like 8,000.
What was it? It was England or something.
It was 800.
It was ridiculous.
Triple-digit vehicles, and that's the issue. And Adara mentioned as well. It's just how forward-looking can you be? You need to start seeing something come up. But he needs to stop being so optimistic with his timelines and just start pushing things out. And if it happens to be a little bit early, then sure enough, boom, it's good. It's kind of like the Steve Jobs and Tim Cook scenario, where Steve would never release anything until it was 100% ready, unlike what Cook did with the Apple Intelligence. He released it prematurely and was petitioning it significantly early, and it wasn't ready.
And look what happened.
And I mean,
what's going on there, Ram? Who are you disciplining in the chat? Oh, okay. Oh, my God. Y'all don't even know what I heard in my ear right now.
That's crazy. Let's see what they are.
Ram, bro. She'll come down on you with the gauntlet. All right, let's go on to that next story, Joe, because this is going to build on what we talked about Tesla here. So China EV sales rebound in August with record deliveries. Again, weakness for Tesla in China, but you're not seeing that with these domestic brands, so let's get right down to it. BYD shipped 371,501 units in August. That's a 22% bump year over year, solidifying its position as China's EV leader. The growth reflects your resilient demand recovery after a summer slowdown and a fierce price war, which has been much to the chagrin of the Chinese regulator. They don't want their companies in a race to the bottom, a bottom to the price, that is. They want this price war to flatten out, and they've been threatening the companies lately. Let's talk about NIO. We're going to cover, we already gave you BYD, we'll give you NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto. There's more though, okay? So NIO delivered 31,305 units in August, a new record after slipping momentarily there in July. NIO's been doing a lot better, really much to my surprise. The surge has been really driven by their sub-brand, Onvo. That's been moving the needle, which delivered about 16,434 units, so more than half of their units delivered in August, were as a result of the sub-brand Onvo. It's the first time that this Onvo brand has had a 5-digit month versus the 6,000 they delivered back in July. Their L90 SUV, which is a 6-seater competing with the Model Y, began deliveries on August 1st, with the 7-seater due in late September. NIO also launched pre-orders for its flagship ES8 SUV, which is priced at about 309,000 yuan, about $43,000, give or take, with delivery set for September. But then you got XPeng as well. XPeng, not XPEV, despite the ticker, posting more deliveries than NIO, beating them by about 6,000. 37,709 deliveries in August, the highest ever monthly figure for XPeng. Get it, XPeng. It was boosted, Joey, by the launch of the P7 sedan on the 28th of August, priced competitively, 219,000 yuan, making it one of the lowest cost EVs in the market. And that hot garbage Li Auto delivered 28,529. This one was the leader of the three. Now it is lagging behind all three, marking the third straight monthly decline for Li Auto, despite launching the competitively priced LI. The Li Auto i8 on the 29th of July, sales slipped, Joseph, amid backlash, over a controversial crash test video with Dongfeng Liu Zhu trucks. I don't even know about all this. I'm gonna have to look into this. What the hell did they do on some crash test videos? Pissing off the market.
Yeah, they probably did something that they didn't like, probably something live in there, or who knows what they got. But at the end of the day, Sharif, we know what's going on with the China EV space, and there's a reason why they're not allowed over here. They go over into Europe, and you can just see on a month-over-month basis, BYD is just absolutely grabbing share from Tesla left, right, and center, and then 219,000 won. I'm curious to how much that is in USD or CAD, because if it's relatively cheap in that pricing, chances are it's about a $20,000 to $25,000 vehicle here. So yeah, it's not too bad. Just watch out for these Chinese EVs. There's a reason why they're not allowed over here.
All right, so let's just talk about that, because Adair's not at our desk for a second.
Yeah.
But let's talk about it, Joey. So what North American regulators, North American governments are accusing the Chinese of doing, they're saying, look, these companies, XPeng, NIO, BYD, Xiaomi, what's it called, Li Auto, they're all getting subsidies, and plenty of them, from the Chinese government, with the objective of flooding their cars for super cheap on the world markets, hurting the likes of Ford, GM, drive them out of business, hurt them, and then incrementally raise the price as you start dominating market share. Now, Joey, what our response was to that was to throw 100% tariffs on that, right? Now, Joseph, can you say that maybe the methodology by which the West is responding to this Chinese subsidies is to subsidize themselves? Let me make my case. You got 10% stake in Intel from your boy Donald. You got golden shares in U.S. Steel. You got 15% of AMD revenues. You got about $500 million by the Pentagon in MP materials. Is it now the methodology of Western governments to subsidize their businesses because the Chinese have had success doing it?
I think they have to, because as you just mentioned, Sharif, this isn't the first time that they do. They essentially undermine companies, make sure that they can't sell anything for a profit, just destroying their margins, and then step in and then slowly start increasing their prices after that. So it's essentially their playbook. It's like, all right, we're going to make everything significantly cheaper than what you charge, run your companies dry, and then step in and then grab all of the market share, and then and then essentially start raising the price after that. I think that's the exact same case. We've seen it in the precious metals, and then now we're seeing it in the auto industry in the countries that these Chinese EVs are allowed.
I agree with you, man.
So I think that's exactly what's going on. And if you ask me, that's ideally essential business. That's how you want to kind of run it at the end of the day.
They didn't want to do this. Like the laissez-faire, people didn't want to take an investment in these companies like your boy Donald wanted to do. Like let's call them the established. I know.
I'm saying like undermining everybody and then stepping in.
100%. That's what we're doing. I'm not disagreeing with you at all about that. That's 100% accurate. I don't know, Adair, did you have an opportunity to hear this? This like little back and forth thing that we're talking about Chinese EVs, because I don't want to throw this your way if you didn't have an opportunity.
I mean, I looked. I just went to the bathroom. I was there for part of it. Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting here is the Li Auto. I'm going to look at Li Auto in particular. I mean, Li Auto, of the three major Chinese EV stocks, by far performing the best today. But again, this is just on the day. Yeah, I mean, I think this one is certainly in a bit of trouble. This controversial crash video, I don't know enough about it, but I think that's definitely going to be a bit of a concern. The fact that they're, these third straight monthly declines, even as you have, XPeng having its highest ever monthly delivery numbers, I think Li Auto, regardless of today's performance, might be a little bit in trouble. Again, if you compare its performance to its two major peers in the space. I'm not talking about BYD, I'm just talking about the ones that are publicly traded in the US. In terms of the golden shares thing, I think I've said something to this effect before. I find it fascinating that as much as the U.S. criticizes China, they are adopting a lot of similar policies.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right? That's what I'm saying. I've thought that like the second we started having the Intel thing, I know Trump even I think used the word golden share when it comes to X. We know that's already China's playbook, and yeah, I mean, it's curiouser and curiouser. I'll say to that.
Yeah, to me, it's like almost admitting that the Chinese methodology of propping these companies from a domestic money source has been the right move. Because initially, what I was saying to Joseph while you were away was their move, Adara, was to put 100% tariffs on these things, keep them away from North America, they said, because they're illegally being subsidized by the Chinese government. Then, lo and behold, the Canadian government's been subsidizing whatever battery plant they could subsidize, Adara, one that is going bankrupt. I forget that Swedish company or whatever, the one that's out in Quebec. So aren't we doing the same thing? Aren't we subsidizing the EV game? So are we admitting that their methodology was right and ours was maybe a little bit behind? So I don't mean to put you on the spot there, but I'm just thinking out loud, right? So this is kind of like what I was thinking about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that. I 100% think that, like, not necessarily that it's wrong or whatever, but I think that there's very obviously, the U.S. is at the very least curious about it, and they're studying it. And I think what's more interesting is, again, is we do have this animosity between the U.S. and China. We do have the U.S. not so subtly picking up certain trades. Yeah, that's all I'll say to that, I guess.
Fair enough.
One last thing, to add to your point and just ask for the subsidies, I like what they've done here in the state. Howard, obviously the Commerce Secretary, was like, okay, yeah, you want this money, we're going to take this stake, but you have to fork up more money and invest more into America, because he essentially said to TXN, you're not getting that grant, to Intel, you're not getting it unless you invest more into America, and we've seen it across the board in the likes of TSMC and some of these other chip companies as well.
Man. Well said. All right, guys, let's go on to Novo Nordisk. Their Wegovy shows stronger heart benefits versus their rival Eli Lilly. So let's get right to it. New real world trial data showed Wegovy cut risks of heart attack, stroke, or death by more than 57% more than Eli Lilly's Zepbound or Mounjaro. That's a big percentage, 57%. That's for heart rate, not 57% more weight loss. It's for the heart-related conditions. Event rates were very low, apparently 0.1% on Wegovy versus 0.4% on Zepbound and Mounjaro, but results suggest the semaglutide-specific heart protection. Novo argues the benefits are unique to semaglutide molecule, not broadly applicable across all the GLP-1s. So if you think you were going to get it from Eli Lilly's, you're not. You got to go to Novo Nordisk. Not me saying that. That's what the company is saying. Believe them if you would like. The competition with Eli Lilly, very well noted. Between the two companies, Eli Lilly's Zepbound and Mounjaro remains Novo Nordisk's biggest competitor in the weight loss drug market. Both firms are racing, Joey, to develop oral obesity pills to replace the injections. People don't like poking themselves. Analysts caution, however, results are not randomized controlled trial, RCTs, which is the gold standard, making comparisons a little less definitive, so take that with what you will. But we know that there have been challenges in the U.S. market. Despite the blockbuster success, Novo stock is down about, at least at the time of the writing of this article, 40% year to date after losing U.S. market momentum. The struggles are tied to the White House tariffs, rising competition. CVS is expanding Wegovy access with their compounds and whatever. And believe it or not, Joseph, Denmark halved its economic growth forecast, partly due to weaker Novo exports. It's insane that this one company has such an effect on one country.
That is crazy. I didn't know that.
I don't want to say it's only because of that, but partly due. Yeah.
Halved? Is it global
Denmark
forecast?
halved its economic growth forecast, partly due to weaker Novo exports and reduced U.S. market share.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have, speaking of getting halved right here, Sharif, that's the look on Novo Nordisk right here. Again, for me personally, we know that the subs are, Sharif tells us, the subs are extremely expensive for the injection. Yeah, the injection. So for me personally, I mentioned it once, I'll mention it again, there's definitely cheaper alternatives on way that you can lose weight. But as for the heart thing, that's positive, I guess. There's other things that you can do from a physical activity standpoint that benefits your heart as well, instead of injecting a substance into you. But down 61% and barely bouncing off of those lows there, Sharif. So
crazy.
Yeah, a really, really tough look in Novo Nordisk.
All right, Adara, this is one that you know very well. You trade, you report on it. What's your look?
Yeah, I've said this before, I find Novo Nordisk an actively frustrating stock to day trade because, as you've seen today, this is objectively good news and it sells off. So I'm with Lilly all the way from a day trading perspective. I do want to talk here a little bit about Novo going forward. They do have the new CEO they announced, I believe, back in May. July?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think
shiny
the old
one.
guy left in May. I think they announced this new dude maybe in July. Maziar Mike Dustar. This could be pretty notable here. He is the new president and CEO of Novo Nordisk, and Novo went the Elliott Hill route with this. And by that, I'm comparing this to Elliott Hill being appointed CEO of Nike. He was a longtime employee of Nike, and then he got, I guess, promoted or appointed there to the position of CEO, and Elliott Hill's case taken out of retirement. Mike Dustar has been with Novo Nordisk since 1992, so he's a long-time company insider. We'll have to wait and see what kind of turnaround he does for the company. This is just talking about its overall stock performance. But yeah, I mean, guess how the mighty have fallen, and I did not realize the extent to which this company impacts Denmark's, I guess, economic outlook overall, but that is pretty shocking, and I hope for the sake of Denmark and Novo that Maziar does the job.
I wonder if Maziar knows Brian Armstrong there. Let's go on
That's
to the.
like saying if maple syrup sales go down, Canada's economic growth is cut in half.
Bro, nah, man, come on, man. We're more diversified than that. Stop crapping.
But you know what I mean, though? That's like kind of what we're saying here. Which is insane, reliant on one company.
There you go. That's crazy, Joey. All right, let's talk about this Kraft-Heinz merger, but we're going to pause for a second,
Absolutely.
Joey.
New traders, listen up. First month free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading. Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. Before we move on to that there, Sharif, let's just touch back on the market here, guys. We're getting a really nice curl over off of those lows in the Nasdaq. So keep an eye out on this, just in case we do establish a lower high on the session. But I would be looking for that as a potential target. So around 86 1/3 there. So not too bad. And then we also have the likes of NVDA trailing right below the volume-weighted average price, and some of the crypto names getting a bounce. I'm referring to Ethereum, but we still have IBIT consolidating right above the volume-weighted average price. Robinhood starting to climb as well, too. So we're seeing a nice rebound in the overall market.
Sounds good, Joey. Let's talk about Kraft-Heinz splitting into two companies, ending their $46 billion mega merger. So Kraft-Heinz will split into two companies, reversing much of the 2015 $46 billion merger, which was backed by Berkshire as well as 3G Capital. So here's the deal. Company one, Brendel made a joke about this, and I think he's right to do because they're almost the same. Company one, their focus is going to be on shelf-stable meals. That's going to include Heinz, Philadelphia. We're talking about Kraft mac and cheese. That's expected at least to bring in about $15.4 billion in sales this year, about 75% from sauces, spreads, and seasonings. And then company two is going to be what they're calling a scaled portfolio of North American staples. That's going to include Oscar Mayer, Kraft singles, not Kraft mac and cheese. They're splitting those two for whatever reason. I don't know, Adara. Kraft singles, Lunchables, and that's expected to bring in about $10.4 billion in revenue this year. The goal by splitting the companies up is to streamline operations, improve capital allocation, and unlock brand growth potential. Let's tell you a little bit about that 2015 merger because I didn't even know about it because I wasn't in the market at the time. Investor enthusiasm faded quickly, I should say, as U.S. sales weakened. And back in 2019, Kraft-Heinz faced an SEC subpoena tied to accounting issues. It also cut its dividend by about 36% and took a $15.4 billion write-down over Kraft and Oscar Mayer. Buffer later admitted he overpaid for the company. Multiple leadership shakeups and further write-downs followed that whole thing. And they had divestitures, or divestitures included most of its cheese unit, which was sold. And their Palantir nuts division was also sold. So a lot of divestitures there. And despite these moves, though, Joey, Kraft-Heinz shares down
bigly
60% since that 2015 merger. Show them that weekly, Joey, because it's not a good look at weekly. I hope it doesn't embarrass us there. Yeah, I know, right? Zoom out there a bit, Joey.
All right, there,
Look, you got to zoom out, Joey. You got to go 15, baby.
Out.
Yeah, it's real ugly.
Oh,
it's real ugly.
Dude. Yeah, that's not a good look here. All right, guys, a lot of people aren't going to like what I'm about to say right now. But if you like craft singles, then I'm sorry. Then we can no longer be friends. All right. If you like craft singles, then it's it. It's done. It's over. It's over. It's that quick. As a real cheese lover over here, you cannot have craft singles. Funny story. When I was really, really young, my friend's mom made us a homemade pizza, and she put craft singles as the cheese. Oh boy. Boy, was that the worst pizza I've ever tried in my life. And to this date, I still cannot eat craft singles. So please get away. As a cheese lover, get out of here with that stuff. But from a technical standpoint, Sharif, to add to your point from 2017 to where we're currently trading at right now, you're down 72%. The chances of this stock ever recovering after almost a decade are slim to none, in my opinion. Stay away from craft singles. I haven't cooked mac and cheese or craft dinner in probably over a decade. So I'm not looking to eat that stuff. Like easily.
Like I might have smashed a few back in university, you know, when you're tight on money.
Me and my
school,
exactly.
Like,
it's 89. It was like 60 cents a box back then. You know what I mean? So you would come in. My friend and I, we would grab a white cheddar and the original, and then we would put them in there and we would mix it, and that's what we did. But at the end of the day, after
throw a little
school,
sriracha in there, bad boy?
No, we didn't do
Crazy.
any. You know what's crazy? So I used to a lot of new people from Newfoundland lived in there, and they would throw those little can wieners. You know, the little hot dogs in the that's the thing in the craft dinner. But the most disgusting thing is, my friend's dad used to drink the hot dog water out of the cans. It's the most disgusting stuff ever. I'm telling you, with that stuff. So just avoid it at all costs.
Bro, what the hell?
It's so
what the hell?
Dude, it's the little cans.
God.
He would crack it, drink the...
No, we don't need descriptions,
and
bro.
then put it in there.
Crazy.
That is so
That's
gross.
crazy.
Oh,
my God.
Gross. Times are tough.
It's not a great segue, Adara. Now I smell nasty hot dog juice everywhere. I'm sorry to bring that picture to everybody, but this is a concerning development here with the company really 60% off that high from the merger and looking to go into two different companies. What's your take?
Yeah, I hate that story, for one. I'm just disgusted now, and now I have no appetite. But I mean, if I was an investor, I wouldn't have an appetite for Kraft Heinz here either, because it's getting pretty crushed. To be quite honest, even like intraday, if you zoom out, it's a bad look regardless. Now, what's interesting here is, I don't believe you mentioned this because I think it came out intraday. Becky Quick was interviewing Warren Buffett, of course, you know, of Berkshire Hathaway, and Warren Buffett himself played a very large role in this merger. And apparently he is disappointed that the companies are breaking up. Like, he's acknowledged this did not go well, the merger, but he doesn't think that breaking up the companies outright is necessarily the best way of doing it. So I think Warren Buffett's comments are pretty interesting. I mean, the stock was already on a free fall, but Buffett's comments, which I think were publicized a little after 10 a.m., sent it a little bit lower. One thing I will say, too, is apparently Warren Buffett said that Greg Abel, who's going to be stepping into the CEO position as of January 1st, 2026, of Berkshire Hathaway, apparently he expressed his displeasure to Kraft Heinz. And I'm like, I have some concerns now about Greg Abel, because I'm like, if you're this concerned, actually, you know, tell them, you know, make it a little bit more clear. Like, we know that Berkshire was basically massive role was a driving force in this. So, I mean, I think other than the slight concerns about Greg Abel's leadership that I feel are awakened by that issue, I think it's fascinating that Warren Buffett is not a fan of the breakup, though he did acknowledge obviously things aren't perfect. But the fact that they're like divorcing brands within the Kraft line is I don't even know what they're doing. I don't even understand this. The strategy makes zero sense. And I will say too, with regards to Kraft singles, I think they have their purpose on a burger, and that's it. Don't eat them solo. But I think this stock you might not want to trade solo either. It's about to make new low of days.
That's going to be between you and Joe. I'm not going to have an opinion on the Kraft singles here. I haven't had them. I haven't had them in years.
Brother.
I mean, I used to have them back when I was a kid.
I can get behind what Adara's saying.
I can't even remember when the last time was.
It has to be on a barbecue, but no, brother, you can't eat that stuff like out.
Don't eat them solo, is what she's saying.
No.
So you're okay throwing that on a barbecue?
I would prefer not to. If there's an option with cheese and without, I'm going to go with the without. All right.
What's your favorite cheese?
Old cheddar.
Old cheddar.
Yeah.
Adara, what's your favorite cheese?
Oh, well, lately I've been into the apple maple variety of Boursin, which is like I know Joe and I have talked Boursin before. It's like a nice little round, soft cheese. That is fantastic. But there is this, I don't know the specifics, I apologize. There's like a maple cheese that my dad's cousin buys and has at like family parties. No, it's sharp. I went to recently this same family, like a distant relative, they had a party recently and they had all of these cheeses that they had imported from Spain.
Interesting.
And all of them were excellent. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm into Spanish cheese right now, but Boursin that's mine.
Boursin.
Yeah.
The garlic.
Yeah, see, I think I like more like, the fun fruity flavors of my cheeses because the garlic is good, but the fig and the apple Boursin.
Oh, you like the fig one? Yeah.
No, I wasn't laughing at Derek. The Chilean nightmare was in my ear.
Oh, what did he say?
Such a liability. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, my favorite everyday cheese is gonna be feta. That's what I throw on the eggs.
Yep,
I crush that bad boy. But I also happen to like blue cheese. I like Gouda. I like I don't even know how to say it in English, bro. It's like Turkish cheese. That's not what they call it.
I like halloumi.
I don't even know what halloumi is. I've never tried it.
Really? No. Am I saying it right, chat? Let me know.
I've heard it before,
it's good. It's like a grilled. It's like a grilled cheese that's really good, and obviously ricotta. You've never had halloumi, brother?
I probably have, but I'm
you definitely have. Yeah, that's good. It's a little salty. But it's really good. You throw it on the frying pan, and it's great. It doesn't melt or anything. Yeah. It's really good stuff. Yeah.
Let's talk about this IPO that's come in recently, Joey. Everybody's heard. Well, most people have heard of Klarna. If you've used Buy Now, Pay Later, you've probably weaseled into them. They're targeting a $1.27 billion IPO, and it's been long awaited. So they filed to raise up to $1.27 billion, as I mentioned, for a U.S. IPO. It's going to be on the NYSE, the New York Stock Exchange, under ticker KLAR. The offering is going to include about 34.3 million shares, and the initial price, Joey, we'll have to see what it comes out at. We've seen this lately, $35 to $37 a share. That's the initial price. Now, we need to see how over or undersubscribed that price is to make our assessment whether we're going to trade this or not, because trust me, a lot of us are looking at trading this. This values Klarna up to $14 billion, depending upon where the IPO ends up dropping. The breakdown here is going to be as follows. 5.56 million shares are going to be issued anew by Klarna. About 28.8 million shares are going to come from existing shareholders. The joint book runners are going to be your boys at Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Morgan Stanley. So deal making is back in business. Goldman, JP Morgan, they're all pounding the table at this because it's been a light couple of years. About the company, who's Klarna? They were founded back in 2005, best known for Buy Now, Pay Later platform. They recently expanded into debit cards and deposit accounts, diversifying, beyond the installment plan business. Their IPO aims to boost growth visibility as Buy Now, Pay Later faces rising competition as well as regulatory scrutiny. Their financial performance was as follows. Their Q2 2025 revenue, about $823 million in revenue, which is a 20% year-over-year increase versus their revenue this time last year. But their net loss did widen. Normal for a growing company, typically up to $53 million net loss now in Q2 compared to smaller losses last year. Profitability for the company remains a challenge despite that top line growth. And here's the history, man. It's not all hunky-dory. Klarna, once valued at $45.6 billion, obviously during 2021 when everything in their mother's third cousin was inflated. It was a SoftBank lending fund. The valuation collapsed, though, Joey, much like the overall market. In 2022, their valuation dropped from 45.6 to 6.7, all speculative, of course, because they never went public, which is an 85% drop in one freaking year, blaming macroeconomic downturn and higher rates. And now they're recovering that IPO pricing. So $14 billion, give or take, the valuation signals cautious investor optimism, but still way below that 45.6. We're not even talking in the same region here, dude.
Yeah.
The IPO was delayed earlier in 2025 due to your boy Trump's tariffs.
So the question is, do you think we see an oversubscription on this? Like
that's what I was saying.
In the likes of I don't know if we do the buy now, pay laters. Anything can happen. We know we have a couple of other names that are in that field. So for me personally, I think it's definitely a waiting game for this one, especially if it does come in oversubscribed and you see come the IPO date that the top is continuously lifting higher and higher. I think that can give a good signal in which direction it may lead. So one last thing here.
Go ahead,
look at Google here. As my guy Gaurav, yeah, like essentially in the past since 11 o'clock to 12,
baby.
yeah, up from 12 o'clock from lunchtime, it's put in 2 red candles.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so big time buy program, new high of the day.
God, yeah.
Still slightly negative on the session though.
Yeah, well, all the meg
gap
is
down.
except
Yeah, exactly.
Only
but a
Flakes
nice recovery.
Is not, but Flakes is not even a meg. But
yeah, it's again, it comes down to the IPO and what the top is telling us. I think come open.
All right, Adara, what's your take here on Klarna? Is the buy now, pay later craze behind us, or is there still room for this company to be like a big boy?
I don't think so. I actually don't think it's behind us. Like I have, this infographic here just to compare a firm. This is all of its quarterly revenue reports except for the one that just came out because they posted ahead of the earnings. And as you can see, like generally, this is in an uptrend, right? In terms of their earnings from when they went public, this is roughly, I guess, 5 fiscal years worth of reports. So I don't think it's like a bad look necessarily for the sector. We know a firm actually had a pretty well-received earnings report initially too. If you go back to day one earnings, because they actually just reported earnings, so it gives us a nice basis of comparison. Now, in terms of how well-received Klarna's IPO will be, I suspect it will be oversubscribed. I suspect a lot of people will be into this. Klarna we've been waiting for. I know there were reports that this was going to be IPOing earlier this year. Then with the Liberation Day fears, Klarna liberated itself from an IPO, but now it's coming back. So I think this has been hotly anticipated. I don't think this is going to be as big as the Discord IPO we're expecting, the potential Sheen IPO, the Skims IPO,
Gemini.
or Anduril, which could be potentially coming out. We know Palmer Luckey indicated at some point that he'd be interested in taking it public. So regardless, I think comparatively Klarna might not be huge, but I think given the IPO culture as of late, I think it'll be one to watch. Now, the one thing I will say as well is you saw what happened with Bullish, which was also kind of in that financial space, so obviously a lot more crypto than what we have with Klarna. That thing had a massive initial reaction and then sold off. So with Klarna, I think scalping might be in order. But again, you're going to have to wait and see if it even is oversubscribed or what the demand is.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with TrowNet, S64, Anduril. I'm buying that IPO, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I'm a big Palmer Luckey fan in general. I'm not a warmonger, but I know where the world is headed. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
And I know exactly that it's becoming a multipolar world. And if it's going to be a multipolar world, you better have some stuff.
You better have some
stuff ready, or you find somebody in your backyard, baby.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
You got to watch Doomsday Preppers.
Yeah, get myself one of those Zuck bunkers. See about the bunker that he got there at his house in Hawaii?
No,
do a little
crazy,
Google
eh? Well, people are buying those cheaper bunkers and just digging them in their backyard and going in.
I don't have a house yet, Joey.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well,
we could just take over. We'll just do hostile takeover.
Hostile takeover. This guy's killing it. All right, you guys are killing it. Let's talk about the court ruling that put Trump's reciprocal tariffs in jeopardy. All right. Federal Appeals Court ruled 7-4 that Trump's reciprocal tariffs are illegal, saying only Congress has the constitutional powers to impose broad taxes and or tariffs. Trump had invoked the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, declaring that trade deficits are a national emergency to justify these levies that he's issuing. The court ruled the IEEPA does not grant such authority, putting most of the April 2nd tariffs on shaky ground. The scope of the impact, well, it's important, Joey. Trump's plan covered about 69% of all U.S. imports, but if struck down, it would wind down to only about 16%. Would remain untariffed. Tariffs include sweeping 10% baseline levies on most countries with up to 50%, as we've seen on nations like India and Brazil. The court also invalidated, Joey, Trump's China, Canada, Mexico tariffs tied to fentanyl and trafficking claims, baby. Oh, that's a broad swath of tariffs that were removed there. The next steps and the legal path. Let's talk about that. The ruling allows tariffs to remain in effect, guys, until October 14th, while the administration appeals to, you guessed it, the United States Supreme Court. Trump warned overturning them would destroy the United States of America, in quotes. If the Supreme Court rejects them, Trump could pivot to the 1974 Trade Act, Joey. But tariffs under that case would be capped at 15% for 150 days unless they were extended by Congress. So it's not out of control in his hands yet. He still has some cards to play, but I'm assuming he doesn't want to go down that road. Just to talk about one more thing here before I send it to you. The steel and aluminum tariffs, which are Section 232, they remain untouched though. So they've expanded in August to cover about 400 additional products. Those remain untouched. So the Section 232 tariffs are seen as legally stronger and likely to survive into future administrations. But the Trump-era China tariffs as well, that made by Biden, they were also unaffected, so they didn't remove that. And then last but not least, that de minimis rule, i.e. the Shein and Temu rule, bringing products under $800. They got, the exemption was eliminated on Friday, we know, meaning imports under $800 now face tariffs, a hit to the small, medium-sized business. Canadian companies took a hit as well under that de minimis tariff. A lot of these smaller companies, Joey, were sending shipments into the U.S. Tariff-free, and now they're having to wind down sending a lot of these products to the States. It's not just China that was affected by that.
Yeah, absolutely. But what is the American government going to do? Send back the money from tariffs that they've already collected?
Joey, that's what they're saying. They might have to issue back the money. It's crazy, but that's what they're saying.
I think there's zero chance. For me personally, I don't understand why they're continuously battling them on this. The restructuring of the deals, I think, is great for America. Obviously, tariffs, people don't like it. It's a consumption tax. I understand that. But if you're running a deficit on every corner of the globe, would you not want to restructure it so it's in your favor? And I think that's what this administration is doing, not trying to do. I believe they are doing it, in my opinion.
All right, Adara, we're going to find out exactly what happens when the Supreme Court rules on this, but they have until October 14th. What do you? What's your take on this whole thing until then?
Yeah, so my issue here, to respond to Joe and also to respond, to the whole general idea of a trade emergency, some of these countries with high tariff rates are not actually in a trade deficit with the U.S. And I think that's really important to remember. Brazil is chief among them. They actually had trade, I think, surpluses here with Brazil. The U.S. goods trade surplus with Brazil in 2024 was up actually almost 24%, 23.9% year over year. So not only is there a surplus with Brazil, they actually increased it substantially on a year-over-year basis. Now, why am I naming Brazil in particular? Because Brazil, U.S. is trying to do a 50% tariff on Brazil. So some of these tariffs, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying some of them, and I think notably that one, can arguably not be about a national emergency. So I think that is a really key thing to remember when having this conversation. And I think, again, I'm just coming at this devil's advocate from a legal standpoint. You could argue a lot of these are situations where Trump is attempting to, right or correct these trade deficits. There are examples clearly where that is not the case. And I think that is something that, unfortunately, if you're rooting for these tariffs, is likely going to maybe hurt the administration as this case is continuing to be decided, because not every situation involves a trade deficit.
Yeah, no, that you bring up a really good point there, especially with countries that there's a trade surplus. How possibly can you say it's an emergency? Great point, Adara. Have to agree with you on that. Let me bring it in, Adara, for a second. But let's bring in the more practical side of the equation, Adara. A lot of cases have gone to the Supreme Court in Trump 2.0. He's yet to lose a case at the Supreme Court in Trump 2.0. Could this be the first one?
We're going to have to wait and see. I think that you've already seen that certain Supreme Court judges, even that Trump has appointed, have actually ruled against, not necessarily him, but more the administration in general. I'm talking about Amy Coney Barrett. So there is already an indication that we could get not necessarily, the unanimous ruling, at least for his appointed judges, that he wants. So I think that already is an indicator. The other thing I want to mention, too, is the Supreme Court previously indicated that they're not even sure if Trump is within his rights to fire a Fed official. So that, I think, could be the other case, and by that I'm referring to Lisa Cook, where he runs into some challenges. I'm not sure if it's going to be the tariff case specifically, but either way, for those two reasons, I do think there is a chance at some point down the line, who knows when, that there could be some tumult there for Trump and losing at the Supreme Court level. It
would be definitely very interesting if that happens. Thank you, Adara, for that. We had a couple of more things. The Nestle firing their CEO because I don't want to say that. We'll get dinged. And then also Shanghai Corporation Summit as well. There was a whole bunch of people out in China on the weekend. You had a lot of the heavy hitters, non-Western leaders, obviously, in Shanghai. And China and India now starting to get the ball rolling. You had your boy Putin there as well, Joey. So there's a lot of stuff happening away from North American eyes. I'll just put this to you.
Yeah.
Do these tariffs create unlikely bedfellows. I'm talking about India and China, who have been fighting for decades and decades and decades.
Yeah, I said this at the beginning of this.
Bang.
And we've seen it in the late, even we were doing it. As for the example of Canadian grocery stores buying more Australian beef, people will just find additional trade partners if they don't get the deal that they want with the United States. And you're seeing that when you have companies or countries like China and India starting to strike deals. That's not good. And then also the Russian oil that they're continuously buying.
There you go, baby. So. All right, guys, about 20 seconds left on the show. We'll have to wait and see. These are obviously very interesting developments in the macro world there. We went through all of the micro stuff as well with each company. We're actually going to send you to Dara early. She's got news, and then we're going to send you the big boys for the afternoon rundown, guys. See everybody shortly. Joey and I back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel.
Not news, but just a reminder. Sorry, I don't know why I was pressing that button. Donald Trump actually set to deliver a announcement. We're seeing this is either going to be defense related or related to, I guess, the Space Command Center. That's going to happen at 2 p.m. Now, I checked the White House YouTube channel. They don't have a stream up for this yet, so unclear if they're going to be